Got to record for YouTube in the future. Government shutdown. The government was not shut down. It was averted. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Matt Gaetz trying to oust Kevin McCarthy. Try not to spend too much time on the government shutdown stuff because we've been focused on that for the last 2 weeks, but we will talk about it. We got Zelensky and Trudeau honoring an actual beep. I have to edit this on YouTube. An actual
Baba Bowie.
They honored an actual
Baba Bowie
earlier in the week. Actually, maybe last week, but I didn't talk about it last week. We'll talk about it this week. It's old news by now, but we will also move into some other Canadian information. We're going to talk about the hoax that they're pulling about the mass grave sites of indigenous people. It's a hoax. It's not real. They lied to you. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the changes, the rewriting of American history as the National Cathedral removes the Confederate stained glass windows and puts up neo-Marxist, dang old racist propaganda windows in their place. It's a small story, but I'm going to lead it into a bigger picture about the rewriting of American history. It's tearing down the statues, changing American history, changing it for the schools, for everybody. We'll talk about all that in the main segment. We got memes, we got reels, we got rapid fire news. We got a lot of music entertainment news in the rapid fire news section. We'll be talking about 3 artists. And I know it seems boring, but it's funny. Some of it's funny. We'll talk about Taylor Swift. We'll talk about Brittney Spears. We'll talk about Tupac and other rapid fire news stories. To wrap it up at the end of the show, we'll talk about Daniel and the Lion's Den. Josh, did you see Trump making fun of Biden? It was great. He's always making fun of every speech he does. He makes fun of Biden. I love it. I love it. But in the last segment, we will talk about Daniel and the Lion's Den. A lot of people liked the Bible thumping last week, so I figured we're going to stick to it. We've talked about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego before from the book of Daniel. We're going to talk about Daniel and the Lion's Den. It's just one chapter. It won't be a long segment. So if the show runs short, maybe at the end, we'll open up the Discord if anybody wants to call in and chat. If we want to watch some videos, send me some videos or something, we can just hang out at the end of the show to, get that little extra time in there. But that's it. That's the plan for the show. I need sound effects. Where are the nukes at? Oh boy. I've noticed the sound effects are a little loud, so I'm going to turn the volume down on them a bit, but I only heard that in one ear. Let me try again. Oh, there we go. My headphones weren't plugged all the way in. All right. The nukes are here. Let's get on with the show, guys. Take a sip of this brew. Keystone. No Bud Light, no Anheuser-Busch for me. And we'll roll right into the show. So, government shutdown. We've talked about it for the last 2 weeks. It didn't happen. Biden signed a 45-day funding bill to keep the government open. According to Wall Street Bets, this is not a good sign. I was trying to find last week, negative effects of a government shutdown on the American people, and I couldn't find anything. I only found positive effects on the American people of a government shutdown. Turns out, when they extend funding, Wall Street Bets right now, what they're all saying is stocks are going to plummet because what's happening is that they said there's memes. I don't have the memes, but there's memes saying, I smell somebody printing money. Basically, when the government doesn't have enough funding and they need to shut down, that should happen. But when they say we're going to extend it, Biden says we're going to extend it for a 45-day funding bill. Well, basically what that means is the government is just printing some more money. They're just printing some more money. You know what that means? That means the value of your dollar falls. That means more inflation. That means more expensive food costs, more expensive gas costs. Stocks go down. No bueno for the American people. They don't care about the American people. They care about the government. They care about themselves and their own pockets. He acted lost like Biden. I almost peed my pants. If you can find a clip, send it. We'll play it. But let's read this article. Let's get into this article about the government shutdown. Financial CNBC.com. Biden signs 45-day funding bill to keep the government open. The Senate passed a last-minute spending bill Saturday night, averting a government shutdown that would have triggered a calamitous domino effect on the American public and economy. Well, how do we know that your funding bill isn't going to cause a calamitous effect on the American economy? Speaking of Wall Street bets, I sold my Meta stocks today for a $30 loss. Not a huge loss. You know, I don't see it getting back up to where it was under Trump anytime soon, and I need that money accessible. So I sold my Meta stocks. I put a little bit into my bank account so I ain't broke. And the rest, I need to find a good, cheap stock that might pop up a little bit, make a little profit. So if you know anything, not financial advice, but hit me up. Hit up your boy. You know, we got a little money freed up. I want to put it back into a better stock. Because Meta, I think I bought it at 335 and now it's down to 300. So, you know, it ain't doing that. I thought the virtual headsets was going to captivate everybody's mind and everybody was going to go live in a pod and be a zombie in the metaverse. It's not popping off like I expected. Maybe it will in time, but I don't got that kind of time. I ain't got that time. Okay. The Senate voted to pass the continuing resolution 3 hours before 12:01 a.m. 3 hours before midnight. Shutdown of the federal government would have taken effect. The measure was signed into law by President Joe Biden late Saturday night. I can't believe he was up that late. It's past that man's bedtime. The bill allows the government to stay open for 45 days, giving the House and Senate more time to finish their funding legislation. The 71-page short-term bill crafted by House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, Republican of California, allocates disaster relief funds but does not include new financial assistance for Ukraine's ongoing war with Russia. That's good. That's good. We don't need to be sending them more money. Since the inception of Russia's full-scale war on Ukraine, the U.S. has unleashed a war chest worth more than $43 billion in security assistance for Kiev. Earlier on Saturday, the House voted 335 to 91 to pass the stopgap spending measure. The House will resume its work on Monday. President Joe Biden signed the spending bill, officially called H.R. 5860, into law late Saturday night, preventing a government shutdown. I just signed a law to keep the government open for 47 days. The POTUS account posted on Instagram. There's plenty of time to pass government funding bills for the next fiscal year, and I strongly urge Congress to get to work right away. The American people expect their government to work. Let's make sure it does. That's what Biden said. That article is from Katrina Bishop. So, government spending bill signed. How the stocks doing? Are the stocks going down? Are the stocks plummeting? They haven't plummeted yet. But basically, the government's just going to be printing some more money. Printing more money. I think I have one more article on this from Al Jazeera, you know, Middle Eastern propaganda news network. We like to read the sources from all different places, especially liberal sources. Because otherwise, how are you going to know how to defeat your enemy if you don't know what they're saying? You can't just be in a bubble. You can't just read sources from your preferred side, you know. Let me get a sip of the tea. I'm out of honey. It's still good. Vanilla caramel tea. All right. From Al Jazeera, U.S. government shutdown averted. What happens next? The U.S. Congress passed a stopgap funding bill, averting the now looming government shutdown that would have disrupted many services, squeezed federal employees, and roiled politics. The House of Representatives voted 335 to 91 late on Saturday. We already read about that. What are the main points? U.S. Congress passed a stopgap. Can a U.S. government shutdown be averted? What is a U.S. government shutdown? We already know about all this. We've talked about it in the past. If no funding legislation was enacted, federal agencies would have stopped all non-essential work and would not send paychecks as long as the shutdown would last. They would still get their back pay at the end, We talked about that last week. U.S. President Joe Biden signed the bill after it was cleared by the Democrat-controlled Senate. The Republicans narrowly controlled the U.S. House of Representatives. Here are the main things you should know about what is ahead. Temporary funding. The fact that the bill will only liquidate the government for a further 45 days means that renewed intense discussions lie ahead in the two bodies of Congress, the Senate and the House of Representatives, to avert another potential shutdown. Therefore, if an agreement cannot be reached by November 17th, millions of federal workers will once again face delayed paychecks, including many of the roughly 2 million military personnel and more than 2 million civilian workers across the nation. Now, that's not good. That's not good. Just don't pay the president. Let's do that. Before the last-minute deal, federal agencies had already drawn up detailed plans that spell out what services would continue, such as airport screening and border patrols, and what must shut down, including scientific research and nutrition aid to 7 million poor mothers. 7 million poor mothers. Get rid of WIC. Don't have your babies when you're not married, and then you don't have to worry about being a poor mother. You know, live your life right. Get married, and then have babies. Then you don't have to worry about poor mothers on WIC, and we don't have to take care of them. How about that? How about that? President's Democrats fight for Ukraine funding. Congress blocked new aid for Ukraine and government spending deal despite calls from the White House and efforts by Democratic members of Congress. Biden has and will be pressing Congress in the days ahead to provide an additional $24 billion for Ukraine. 24 billion? I guess that means billion. For Ukraine and other international needs amid Russia's ongoing invasion. 24 billion. Yeah, we got to send them another 24 billion. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. According to the U.S. media, the Senate has proposed a bipartisan commie bill, that will send $6 billion to Kiev. But Democrats, cautious of being accused of government shutdown, passed the House version of the bill with no aid. We cannot, under any circumstances, allow American support for Ukraine to be interrupted, Biden said in a statement after the bill was passed. Of course, that's really what they want. We'll talk about Zelensky and Trudeau here in a little bit. But meanwhile, while they're trying to get this stuff done, we got homeboy New York Representative Jamal Bowman pulling a fire alarm. This guy's like in third grade. He's trying to pull the fire alarm to shut down the vote. And he claims, no, it's because I was trying to hurry. I really wanted to vote really badly, so I was trying to hurry in there to vote. So I pulled the fire alarm because I thought it would open the emergency exit door. What? We got you on camera, my boy. Let's watch this. This video.
Only issue on lawmakers' minds tonight, just before the House passed the stopgap spending bill this afternoon, Democratic Congressman Jamal Bowman pulled a fire alarm inside the Capitol. The New York Democrat says it was an accident, but he's already facing backlash from his Republican colleagues, including
accident. My ass. You learn from a very young age that you're not supposed to pull the fire alarm. You can't just be pulling fire alarms. That's not good. It's like yelling fire in a crowded building. That's the Democrats' favorite excuse for free speech. And, no, you can't yell fire in a crowded building. Yes, you can. You can 100% yell fire in a crowded building if there's a fire. You can pull the fire alarm. You're allowed to pull the fire alarm. There's nothing wrong with that if there's a fire. But if there's no fire, you can't be pulling fire alarms, my boy. And he black, you know. He's a mess. Why do we have these people? This is affirmative action hire. Why do we have these people in our Congress? Get them out of there.
Possible investigation by lawmakers on a House committee that oversees the Capitol Police.
He violated the exact same law that January 6th defendants are being prosecuted for every single day.
His initial explanation that was an accident doesn't seem to really pass muster.
So the volume was down. I don't know if you guys heard it, but the beginning of the article, at the beginning of the video, he said it was an accident. He pulled it by accident. That's what I was commenting on. I had the volume down, so you guys might not have heard it. March MTG saying it's the same as J6. What the?
This should not go without punishment. You pulled a fire alarm in a minute of hours before the government being shut down, trying to dictate that government would shut down? What's going through a person's mind like that?
It deserves to be investigated.
I mean, I wanted the government to shut down, so maybe it was kind of based. You know? Maybe I'm not mad at the guy. Maybe, what if it would have worked? you know? Instead, we get Biden's 45-day extended funding plan.
Investigated. And in normal times, this would be considered a much bigger deal. The problem now is you have people, I mean, look, people were comparing it to January 6th. So does that mean that in a couple of weeks, Kevin McCarthy is going to be okay with it? Because he's okay with January 6th now, right? I mean, the people who are most active about comparing to January 6th are the ones who are most forgiving of January 6th, which is a weird kind of locution. But it's a very serious thing. And this guy.
Well, we're active of getting the people who have been locked up for 22 years for doing nothing. We're active about getting them out and, restoring America to what it was. We're supposed to be able to fight back against the tyrannical government.
I was a former middle school principal. Like, they lecture little kids about not pulling fire alarms. There's no way he didn't know what a fire alarm is. So, I mean, yeah, got to hear his version of events, but it's a very...
But he's not a Republican. He's a damn Democrat. I'm pretty sure he's a Democrat.
Strange story.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I've seen speeches that he gave. He's radical, and he's not on my team. So let me see if the article tells me Representative Jamal Bowman pulled the fire alarm in the Canad House building. He says it was an accident, first revealed by House Administration Chairman Brian Steele, Republican from Wisconsin, who said in a statement that an investigation is underway. Let me see if this isn't telling me, but he's talking about he's comparing it to like radical Republicans and the evil J6 people. He is Congressman Jamal Bowman.gov. He's a Democrat. Of course he's a Democrat. Educated Democrat. He represents New York's 16th district. Of course he's a Democrat. Spent his early years in public housing and rent-controlled apartments. Affirmative action. Affirmative action hire. Yeah. Of course he's a Democrat. He black. He a Democrat. Okay. So what are they even talking about? I have no idea. But yeah, so he pulled the fire alarm. Meanwhile, Matt Gaetz is trying to oust Kevin McCarthy. So from ABC News, Gaetz threatens historic vote to try and remove Speaker Kevin McCarthy. What happens next? Kevin McCarthy was acting like a tough guy. He's like, if anybody's got a problem with me, bring it up. Bring it to attention. The next day, Matt Gaetz says, I got a problem with you. We're going to hold a vote to get you out of there, my boy. We don't trust you. Capitol Hill is set for another week of twists and turns, having only just narrowly avoided a partial shutdown of the federal government, as Florida Republican Representative Matt Gaetz says he plans to force a vote on whether to oust Speaker Kevin McCarthy. In an appearance on ABC's This Week on Sunday, Gaetz criticized McCarthy's handling of spending and budget fights since the GOP retook the House in January and claimed that McCarthy had violated promises he made in order to be chosen as Speaker. Gaetz said he would move this week to remove McCarthy in light of a temporary funding bill that McCarthy backed and passed with majority Democrat support late on Saturday to avert the government shutdown. McCarthy, for his part, has projected confidence about his chances and suggested Gaetz is driven by a personal grudge, which Gaetz denies. Let's get it over with. Let's start governing, McCarthy said on CBS on Sunday. When could Gaetz introduce his motion? Privately floated the idea to aides. Vacate as early as Monday, but that is not firm. It could easily slide. Monday is a fly-in day for members, with the White House floor opening at noon and the first vote set for 6:30 p.m. What is the motion to vacate that Gaetz wants to use? The motion is a special procedural move that allows any House members to trigger a vote to remove the Speaker with a simple majority vote. As part of his agreement to become Speaker, McCarthy agreed to revise House rules to allow any single member to bring up a motion to vacate. But Republicans were divided on the issue, with Representative Dan Crenshaw of Texas telling CNN at the time, you can't govern with a gun to your head. It makes us highly unstable. Dan flipped. What happened to Dan, man? Dan used to be the man. Now Dan is just a stan. You know? Dan fell off. He had a patch on his eye. I thought he was a pirate. He's whack. Representative Scott Perry of Pennsylvania, however, said the increased ability to replace the speaker was about responsibility. There's nobody that goes to work every day that doesn't have accountability. Almost. I went all in. We went all in. All right. Under Democrats, starting in 2019, a motion to vacate could only be introduced with the support of majority either way or either party. Since the threshold was lowered this year, the possibility of a motion to vacate has been raised at various points as McCarthy worked to wrangle parts of his Confederates conference or drew their ire, including over the debt ceiling deal with the White House. So Gates is trying to get McCarthy out of there. We got Bowman pulling fire alarms. We got Biden signing bills way past his bedtime. He doesn't know what he's signing. But the government's staying open. Shutdown averted. Unfortunately. Almost. I went all in. What's up, DJ on Paul? Hey, we're about to talk about your homeland of Canada. I'm just kidding. DJ on Paul is not from Canada. We've had that clarified. I thought he was, but he's not. He's from He lives in California. He's not Canadian. But we're going to talk about Canada. So, first, we're going to touch on what happened late last week with Trudeau and Zelensky. Zelensky throwing up. In Canada on the parliament floor. Shocking. But we're going to find out that actually Canada has a history of supporting Nazis. And then that's going to lead us into more mess in Canada as Indigenous Peoples Day comes about. We're going to talk about the hoax that they've been perpetuating about supposedly the schools were just murdering all these Indigenous people and burying them in these unmarked graves. Turns out the graves were dug up. Ain't nothing in them. There was nothing in them. It was a hoax. It was all a hoax. Shocker. Shocker. If you're not paying attention, you might have believed that that white people were just killing all the Indigenous people and burying them in graves at schools. But if you're paying attention, you would know that this stuff is all a hoax. This stuff is all rewriting history to push diversity, equity, and inclusion, Marxist ideologies on people, make you hate your own skin color, make you hate your own race, make you hate your own country and your own nationality so that you can accept diversity. Diversity. We're a melting pot. No, we're not. This is not a melting pot. I'm about to melt you in a pot if you say that. This country is not a melting pot. And we're talking about Canada. But same thing with Canada. They need to stick to their dang French roots. Instead of trying to open up to all this diversity, it's destroying Canada. But first, let's talk about the Zelensky thing. I think I got a clip. Let's play this clip. If I can click on this. It's not letting me click on this. Oh, we got a clip. It's clip time. Let's go to this clip.
We have here in the chamber today Ukrainian Canadian world veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians and continues to support the troops today.
Look at that goofy outfit, looking like a Quaker. Did you see Zelensky? Trudeau's gone.
His name is Yaroslav Hunka.
Yaroslav Hunka?
I was going to say he's in the gallery, but I think you beat me to that. But I'm very proud to say that he is from North Bay and from my riding of Nipissing-Temiskaming.
Yaroslav Hunka.
He's a Ukrainian hero, a Canadian hero, and we thank him for all his service.
He's
thank
a dang
you.
Nazi. Let's give him one more standing ovation. Canada Parliament. One more.
It's extremely upsetting that this happened. The speaker.
So here's Trudeau's response. Once Trudeau found out it was a Nazi, he started going on a blame campaign. And he just blamed everybody. He blamed Russian propaganda. He blamed the speaker. That guy with the weird bow tie, that guy was forced to resign. And Trudeau was blaming him. He was blaming Russia. He was blaming Russia. Putin. It's Putin's fault. Russian propaganda. Blaming everybody. Not taking any credit.
The speaker has acknowledged his mistake and has apologized. But this is something that is deeply embarrassing to the Parliament of Canada and by extension to all Canadians. I think particularly of Jewish MPs and all members of the Jewish community across the country who are commemorating Yom Kippur today. I think
Trudeau, we would have taken you more seriously if you wore blackface when you said this, because I like you better when you're dressed in blackface.
It's going to be really important that all of us push back against Russian propaganda, Russian disinformation, and continue our steadfast and unequivocal support for Ukraine, as we did last week with announcing Ukraine. Further measures to stand with Ukraine.
We have here in the chamber today,
So that's the clip. This guy was has been forced to resign, so he gone. He gone. Ain't no more. You ain't gonna hear from him anymore. You gonna let me escape out of this? Thank you. Thank you. So first, let's look at Yaroslav Hunka. Who is Yaroslav Hunka? Who are we honoring? A Ukrainian-Canadian World War II veteran of the 14th Waffen Grenadier Division of the SS, a military formation of Nazi Germany. Born in Ermin, then part of the Second Polish Republic, Hunka volunteered for SS Galician. In 1943, after the war, he immigrated to Canada as a displaced person where he worked. So he was Canadian. He did go to Canada. You guys are letting them Nazis post up there. What's up, Canada? He worked for the aviation industry, became heavily involved in the Ukrainian community after retirement. He is a resident of North Bay, Ontario. He's currently living in Canada, and he's a Nazi. And here, when you see allegiance right here, y'all, it's tiny. I know it's tiny, but y'all see it. Y'all see who his allegiance was? Nazi Germany. Yaroslav Hunka. So the word got out. People found out. There was a lot of backlash towards Trudeau. Canada's parliament. This is from the Times of Israel. Israel ain't playing with Canada no more. Canada's parliament. Trudeau and Zelensky give inverted ovation to Nazi war veteran. Speaker apologizes to Jews worldwide for encouraging. This is from the Times of Israel, so I'm allowed to say that word because I'm reading their own words. See, they call themselves that. Yaroslav Hunka, 98 years old. Dang, he got that youth potion. He's 98. Feinstein died at 90. Maybe a volunteer fighter in the Waffen SS unit as a Ukrainian and Canadian hero. The Speaker of Canada's House of Commons apologized Sunday for recognizing a man who fought in a Nazi military unit during World War II. Just after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky delivered an address to the House of Commons on Friday, Canadian lawmakers gave 98-year-old Yaroslav Hunka a standing ovation when Speaker Anthony Rota drew attention to him. Rota introduced Hunka as a Canadian and Ukrainian war hero who fought for the 1st Ukrainian Division. The 1st Ukrainian Division was a voluntary unit commanded by the Nazis that was also known as the Waffen SS. Oh, so we can't forgive Russia, even though let's read one more article about this. Jim exposed 10 Hollywood PDF files today, and your favorite actor is one of them. Watch at their own risk. Don't put links in my chat if I don't know you like that. Sorry, bud. You can hang out though. You can hang out and watch the show, but don't come here promoting stuff that I don't know what you're putting up. That could be porn. Don't worry, I didn't ban you. I just removed your comment. I don't want links from people I don't know in my chat. All right. So we got one more article from The Independent. Here is Trudeau playing the blame game. Trudeau calls the standing ovation he and Zelensky gave Oh God, we got this one back. We got this TDS sufferer back. They back. They're gonna talk to themselves for the next 40 minutes about how much they're angry at Trump and butthurt over Trump, crying. Trudeau calls the standing ovation he and Zelensky gave Nazi deeply embarrassing. But he's not taking any credit for it. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has responded to outrage over the standing ovation he participated in for a war veteran who served in the Nazi Waffen SS, calling it a mistake and deeply embarrassing to the country's parliament. Here, watch this. Go to timeout. Go to timeout, little child. Little beta. Hold on. We got something for you.
Beta!
Yep. During Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's visit on Friday, Canada's House of Commons gave a rousing statement, standing ovation to Yaroslav Hunka. We talked about that already. I just want to talk about Trudeau's. Trudeau issued a statement on Monday condemning Mr. Rota for introducing the controversial guest for applause. So he's blaming the speaker. Then he blamed Russia. Obviously, it's extremely upsetting that this happened. The speaker has acknowledged his mistake. Mr. Trudeau said to the press after the veterans past was pointed out by the various Jewish and Holocaust education organizations, but this is something that is deeply embarrassing to the Parliament of Canada and by extension to all Canadians. I've got to do a real feminine voice for Trudeau. Mr. Trudeau said he was thinking particularly of Canadian Jewish MPs and citizens who were commemorating Yom Kippur. He ended his statement with reassurance that Canada is still committed to supporting Ukraine. So this is all about the clip that I played already. But yeah, so he's just blaming everybody. He's blaming everybody. But it turns out Canada's actually got a history of this. So from the Guardian, let me show you this clip right here, or this article right here. Oh, we got another one. Just, let's see. Watch this. Look at this TDS sufferer in the chat. We got a retard in the chat. We got a little
Beta!
We got a bitch in the chat crying about Trump. A liberal pretending to be a conservative. You shouldn't even be on Rumble. Shouldn't you be on Twitch or something? Go hang out on Twitch with the other losers. We don't want you in Rumble. We don't want you over here. All right. Canada has had a dark history with Nazis. Political scandal prompts reckoning. After a Nazi veteran was lauded in Parliament, a debate over suspected war criminals who settled in the country is reignited. So they got a bunch of Nazis living in Canada. Standing in the House of Commons this week, Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau apologized. No, he did not apologize. He played the blame game. He pointed fingers. Trudeau said all lawmakers regret deeply having stood and clapped, even though we did so unaware of the context, adding that the event was a disservice to the memory of... You're the Prime Minister. You don't know these people in your country who are being honored on Parliament's floor? Sounds like a cop-out to me. Every year, there are fewer and fewer Holocaust survivors who stand firsthand with the horrors of what they experienced, and it is therefore incumbent upon us to ensure that no one ever forgets what happened. But the momentary amnesia of forgetfulness, seemingly shared by all lawmakers who applauded that day, has transformed into a costly political scandal and prompted a border re-examination by the legacy of Nazi-linked Ukrainian groups in Canada. I'm going to have to take this whole segment out. Look at this lame. Look at this lame. Guys, we got to
Beta!
let them know how beta they are.
I am not gay. I have relationships with women and sex with men.
And I got news for you.
That means you're gay.
That means you're gay.
Yep. That's for the guy in chat. He doesn't know it yet, but he's gay. He's thinking about Donald Trump's shape of Donald Trump's man unit. His name is named after Donald Trump's unit. That's the gayest thing I've ever seen. How you gonna name yourself Donald Trump's unit? Bro, get a life, loser. Yaroslav Hunka, the 98-year-old veteran lauded at Calumet, blah, 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 blah. I already read about that. And also, the next thing comes from Dashi, which is a channel with like 4 million subscribers on YouTube. So that's not even original, by the way. When I say next during the memes. Towards the end of the Second World War, the group was known as the 1st Ukrainian Division of the Ukrainian National Army, which in the following years had the effect of obscuring its links to the Nazi regime. After the war, thousands of Ukrainians moved to Canada. Interesting. And many lived through Stalin's terror, and the ensuing mass starvation held strongly anti-Soviet views, but possible links and sympathies to the Nazis were largely overlooked. As the Cold War set in, and Ivan Kachanovsky, a political scientist at the University of Ottawa, despite the Galicia Division's links to war crimes, a cenotaph celebrating the unit was erected in Canada's largest Ukrainian cemetery. The memorial has long been source of frustration. Here, oh, we got the beta's back. The beta's back. Beta. The group and the memorials to the fighters have really escaped scrutiny because so few people know the 1st Ukrainian Division was just a different name for the SS 14th Waffen Division, and this was one of the reasons, unfortunately, why no one raised the issue in the parliament last week, said Kachanovsky. Interesting. This is from The Guardian. Meanwhile, Canada's getting ready for, what do they call it? Indigenous People Day, and Trudeau is talking about denialism. As he denies having Nazis live in his country, and as he denies clapping for an actual Nazi in Parliament, he's saying denialism is a big problem. He's talking about denialism. What's he talking about? He's talking about the hoax that's been perpetuated for years about mass Indigenous people being buried in these graves, unmarked graves. So you may have heard about this. I never talked about this on the show, but it's an old story. It goes back a couple years. But it's a hoax. Spoiler alert. It's a hoax. Here. How to just, I just need to ban all these people. Or this person. It's just one person. I haven't asked for any money. What are you talking about? This person's a loser. Here, hold on, watch. Forever. Yeah. This person's a loser. They have like 17 accounts, all TDS suffering from TDS accounts. It's sad. They shouldn't be on Rumble. They should be on Twitch, hanging out with Destiny or Vosh or Hunter Avalone or something like that. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on Saturday warned about the rise of denialism and said uncovering the truth was more important than ever as the nation gathered to honor the lost children and survivors of Indigenous schools. Trudeau's statement was made on National Truth and Reconciliation Day. So that's the day which recognizes the legacy of the residential schools, which operated between 1831 and 1996 and removed about 150,000 Indigenous children from their families. Some were subjected to abuse, rape, and malnutrition at schools in what the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in 2015 called cultural genocide. That's all a hoax. It's not true. It's not true, just so you know. We'll get to it in a second. We must never forget the past and injustices committed against Indigenous peoples at residential schools, as well as, so these are like boarding schools, basically, where allegedly they sent Indigenous people and they must never forget the past and injustice. I already read that. I'm going to stop looking at the chat for a minute because this idiot's in there. Chat, take care of it. I need a mod. Where's Bibby at? I need a mod to just get these people out of here. Or this person. It's one. So, denialism. Canada's unmarked graves. So here's the story that you're led to believe. This is from CNN. Canada's unmarked graves. How residential schools carried out cultural genocide against Indigenous children. This was on 60 Minutes, and this is the story. This is the story you're supposed to believe. And if you're dumb, you probably believe it. This person in the chat probably believes that we genocided all, or Canada genocided all these people at these schools and buried them in unmarked graves. In May 2021, when archaeologists detected what they believed to be 200 unmarked graves at an old school in Canada, it brought new attention to one of the most shameful chapters of the nation's history. Starting in the 1880s and for much of the 20th century, more than 150,000 children from hundreds of indigenous communities across Canada were forcibly taken from their parents by the government and sent to what were called residential schools. Funded by the state and run by churches, they were designed to assimilate and Christianize indigenous children by ripping them from their parents, their culture, and their community. The children were often referred to as savages and forbidden from speaking their languages or practicing their traditions. As Anderson Cooper first reported last year, many were physically and sexually abused, and thousands of the children never made it home. The last of Canada's 139 residential schools for Indigenous children closed in 1998. Most have been torn down, but the Muskowekan Residential School in Saskatchewan still stands, its windows boarded up, its rooms gutted. A reminder to a nation that would rather forget, a 3-story tombstone for generations of children who died here. So then it has the interview. This lady was talking about it, but it's all a hoax. It's all a hoax. So we got more articles fighting denialists for the truth about unmarked graves and residential schooling. They'll call you a conspiracy theorist. You're just a crazy conspiracy theorist. You don't know anything. You're just a crazy conspiracy theorist. And that's what they do. When they tell you you're a conspiracy theorist, you can pretty much believe in what they're saying. This column is an opinion by Cashapp, director of the Institute of Prairie and Indigenous Archaeology. Last week marked the 1-year anniversary in the year since. So I'm just showing you all these stories. We pretty much got the gist of what it is. Nothing to prove. Ultimately, survivors and communities will make the decisions that best facilitate their hearing. They're going to probably get some reparations for it. This is not being done to prove anything to Canadians just because some people want to see exhumation before they believe the already documented deaths in the residential schools does not mean Indigenous nations are under any obligation to dig up their relatives to prove what we already know what happened. So this is an old article. Turns out we did dig up those graves. And guess what? There wasn't anything in them. It was a hoax. JS has a hater. That's so cool. I wish I had a gamma troll hating on me. Must be nice. I know. That's such a beta. Beta. Oh, man. They're a TDS sufferer. It's some liberal in their basement, need to clean up their room. But they're crying about Trump still crying about Trump. So let's look at the hoax. From Washington Examiner. Now, I'm sure lefties and liberals will say, well, that's not a trustworthy source. It's the only source you can find that argues with it because they shut down and they control the information that you see. That's what we're about to get into here shortly with the rewriting of American history. They control what you see on Google. So if you're just going from Google to Google to Google to Google, that's an appeal to authority. I don't trust your authority if your authority is Google. This is just one article that I found. But they exhumed the alleged graves, and there was no bodies in there. So originally it was based off of just seismic scans and like thermal scans that they did, and they said, well, look, there's these hollow cavities. Those are probably graves. There's probably thousands of people buried in there. And then the natives said, well, we don't want you to dig it up because those are our ancestors' graves. Please don't dig them up. But they did dig them up, and there was nothing in there. The natives were going along with the lie because they want the reparations. They want the diversity, equity, and inclusion. They want the benefits. It's all a Marxist ploy, victimhood mentality. Pretend you're a victim, blow everything out of proportion. You've seen a certain group of small hat people do it. You see the blacks do it. You see the indigenous people do it. Crying about everything. You harassed our people. You need to pay us back and give us reparations from it. Hundreds of years later, when nobody alive had anything to do with that stuff back then, on the victim side or the victimizer side, and they're not victims. Now you got casinos, you got food, you got a place to live, you got alcohol. Chill out. What are you crying about? In May 2021, the Tk'emlúps of Secwepemc people, an indigenous tribe in southern British Columbia, announced the discovery of a mass grave containing the remains of 215 indigenous children at the former Catholic residential schools, citing anomalies detected by ground-penetrating radar and the community's assurance that the atrocity had been confirmed. The announcement garnered global media coverage and sparked a nationwide cultural backlash against the Catholic Church. Always trying to hate on the Christian. Oh, we're going full caps now. Wait, this is somebody different. Yeah, get your links out of my chat, dude. I don't want links in my chat. So now we got bots dropping links. We got bots hating on Trump. Bunch of bots. That means we're doing something right. Those who questioned the existence of these mass graves or critiqued the ensuing moral panic were labeled as residential school denialists. Divergence. Oh, my thing just messed up. Divergence from the official narrative was grounds for termination, cancellation, and dismissal. That's how you know when you're on the right trail. The mass grave discovery was, in the eyes of many, the Canadian equivalent of the George Floyd murder. Exactly what I was just saying. And it happened right around the time of George Floyd. They happened to find all these mass graves because they needed their victim thing. They needed to make up this story so that they can get reparations and have more diversity, equity, and inclusion. Push a victim narrative. If you don't see it, you're not paying enough attention. For his part, Trudeau did everything in his power to stoke the controversy for his own benefit. Stop ads. Where was that? He demanded an apology from the Vatican with a quivering voice on behalf of the indigenous children, which he incidentally received from Pope Francis. So Pope copped out. He ordered flags to be flown at half-mast for 6 months. He even visited one of the supposed mass graves for a ghoulish photo op with a teddy bear in hand. To say nothing else, Trudeau is adept at seizing every opportunity to cement his bona fides as a progressive culture warrior and punish his political foes. The only problem, of course, is that the mass grave story has fallen apart in recent weeks. Reporting from the New York Post revealed that excavations of the alleged mass grave sites have produced no human remains. In their rush to leverage a story that was convenient to their preferred ideological agenda, it appears that both the Canadian government and the global news media failed to confirm the facts and instead relied upon an unverified radar anomaly and ancient rumors. The mainstream news media has been predictably silent in the aftermath of these developments. Of course, they're not going to correct themselves. They're not going to go back on what they said. They put this story out there. It's the same way the George Floyd hoax happened. You think he died from a knee on his neck. No, he died from fentanyl and methamphetamines that he ate way beforehand. Those cops did everything correctly. And they don't deserve any jail time, much less 22 years for Derek Chauvin. It's ridiculous. It's rewriting American history. It's a Marxist, neo-Marxist movement to make everybody a victim, hate the evil white man, critical race theory, anti-racism, like Henry Rogers that we talked about last week. It's a bunch of nonsense. Thanks to this refusal to correct mistakes, most people still believe that Michael Brown had his arms raised in surrender before he was shot to death by police in Ferguson, Missouri. Yep, there's another one. When in fact, he'd been attacking a police officer and reaching for his gun. Most people still believe that Nick Sandman and his classmates from Covington Catholic High School mocked a Native American man on the steps of Lincoln Memorial in 2019 by standing in his face. Well, they won their case. Sandman won his case. He's rich now. But they don't they don't do a lot of reporting on the fact that he won his defamation case and that all the media was lying. These are all multiple examples of these hoaxes perpetuated by the media. It's like the girl in the park with the bird watcher guy, the black guy with the dog, or she had a dog that wasn't on a leash. He threatened to kill her dog. You don't see that in the video. All you see is the Karen, racial slur for white women. Although sometimes there are some Karen women. I agree with that. But that was not the case in this story. He threatened her dog. But they don't tell you that. And when they put out these stories ahead of time and they get everybody freaked out and they get this movement going, when the truth comes out, when there's a Nazi symbol, a swastika is put on a wall at a college, come to find out it was like black Antifa kids who did it just to make a fake victimhood story, to make a fake story up. These are hoaxes. These are hoaxes. And when the truth comes out, they don't report on the truth. They keep it hidden. They just want to put it out there, get all the women who are sitting home watching the news emotionally invested, and then they cry about it and they freak out. And then they form the consensus. The women form the consensus. The women get emotional because they hear this stuff and they form the consensus. They say, well, if you question this, you're just a crazy conspiracy theorist. And then they vote for Joe Biden. And that's what we got going on. Not saying there aren't based women out there, but most have a liberal mindset and they see this stuff on the daytime news and they freak out about it. They freak out about COVID. They freak out about George Floyd. They freak out about unmarked graves in Canada that aren't even real. All hoaxes, all a bunch of nonsense. Click here to read more from Restoring America. To be sure, no amount of apologies or corrections to shoddy reporting could restore the churches that have been incinerated, nor repair. Yeah, they were burning down churches because of this, nor repair the reputation that has been destroyed as a result. But for once, it would be refreshing to see the news media summon the courage to try, at least out of respect for the indigenous individuals whose legitimate grievances are denigrated by this journalistic disaster. Facts. Facts. But it's okay. They just won't report on it. They just won't talk about it, and nobody will know that it's a hoax. If you talk about it being a hoax on YouTube, you probably get banned. You have to talk about it on Rumble. But yeah. So that's Canada. Canada is a mess. I drank all that tea already. All right. We got one more story. We will move on. So this is a small story, but I'm going to expand it into a bigger point, which goes back to the same stuff with the Canada, with the hoax, with the graves, the mass graves that had no people in them. Rewriting history, pushing a victimhood mentality on people. We got it happening in America to this day, still to this day. So let's talk about that. We're going to talk about the National Cathedral unveiled new stained glass windows Saturday with a theme of racial justice, filling the space that once held 4 windows honoring Confederate janitors Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson. Here's the story. National Cathedral replaces windows honoring Confederacy with stained glass homage to racial justice. This is it. This is it right here. The new windows depict a march for justice by African Americans, descendants of the very people who would have remained in slavery after the Civil War if the side for which the officers fought had prevailed. The cathedral had removed the old windows after the Confederate symbols featured prominently in recent racist violence. The dedication service was attended by many clergy from the Washington area's historically black churches, as well as leaders of social justice organizations. The prayers, Bible readings, and brief speeches were interspersed with gospel music and spirituals, as well as the contemporary song Heal Our Land. It's a Negro spiritual. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first black woman to serve on the Supreme Court, affirmative action hire, read excerpts from the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. communist letter from Birmingham jail on 1963. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, she read from King's famed message while jailed in Alabama. The goal of America is freedom. We will win our freedom. We will overcome. We will overcome. A week earlier, she had spoken at the 60th anniversary of Birmingham church bombing that killed 4 young black girls. The new windows, titled Now and Forever, are based on the design by artist Carrie James Marshall. Stained glass artisan Andrew Goldkuhl crafted the windows based on that design. In the new work, African Americans are shown marching on foot or in a wheelchair from left to right across the 4 windows. Some march in a profile, some directly face the viewer with signs proclaiming fairness and no foul play. Light floods in through the sky bright panels of white and blue above the figures. So I'll show you. These are the original windows. Let me see if I can get a bigger picture. I don't want to move this. Anyway, these windows right here, these are what it were. Maybe it's hard for you guys to see. Let me see if I can zoom in. Where's my zoom tab? New window, bookmark, zoom. It's not zooming into this. I need it to zoom into this. Anyway, these are the old windows. You got Confederate soldiers on horseback. You got Confederate soldiers lined up with their guns, American flag, Confederate flags. Then you got it talks about engineers. One of these things that says engineer. So we got an engineer here. We're, you know, we have our nation heritage. We have the story told of the Revolutionary War, engineering, industry. They got the cannons, General Robert E. Lee. You know, these are the windows that were there. This is what they've been replaced with. Let me see if I can find a picture of all of them. This is what they were replaced with. How come it gets smaller and then it gets bigger? So these are the new Marxist windows. Fairness. No, foulness. Everybody in the window is black. And there's no white people, and they're marching for a Marxist cause, perpetuating the victimhood mentality. But I say all that, and here's the new stained glass to replace Confederate ones at National Cathedral and Washington Cathedral. Watch this article. I got to go potty real quick.
Now, National Cathedral is celebrating newly installed stained glass windows that are more inclusive. The cathedral unveiled the new Now and Forever window. Talks about justice and fairness in America.
The message that it sends is that everyone is welcome here. As a sacred space, a place of faith, we want to make certain that no matter where you come from and no matter what path that you have traveled to come to this space, that you know you're welcome.
They got the new stained glass windows up. Not a big story, but that leads me to this. The tearing down of statues in America and the rewriting of American history. Here are the Now and Forever windows. Now and Forever windows capture the resilience, faith, and endurance of African Americans in our nation's struggle with the original sins of racism and slavery. Racism and slavery. Slavery, which America ended, which was worldwide, still more slavery than ever in history. And if they hadn't have come to America, they would have went to a Muslim country and been castrated, or an Asian country. They got the best hand available by coming to America, where we fed them, where we clothed them, where we housed them, where we gave them work. Slaves loved their slave owners. I've talked about that in past shows. I've read you excerpts and poems written by former slaves. Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver, amazing men that rose up out of slavery and loved their slave owners. Actually, after being freed, went back to live with their slave owners. But they don't talk about that. They don't talk about how America lost 300,000 young men ending slavery. They don't talk about that. They don't talk about how the South was destroyed by slavery. The South was poor because of slavery. The North was rich and they didn't have any slaves. The North won the war. If you think America was built on the back of slaves, why didn't the South win the war where the slaves were? Because it was hurting them. It was hurting the South. They were poor. When they talk about the slaves, they didn't let them read. Nobody could read in the South. The white people, the slave owners couldn't read in the South. Nobody could read in the South. What are you talking about? Why do you think they talk the way they talk in the South? Because the South, only till very more recently, was educated like that. And I think they were better for not being educated in the past. But these are the forever windows. But it's not just these windows. It's been happening regularly. List of monuments and memorials removed during the George Floyd protests. We'll read this. Let me play this clip first. You guys can see the clip. No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. Y'all remember this? Bunch of little Antifa punks. Listen, you put me in that crowd, I'll take all of them on. Every one of them's going down. Wait till they drop this statue. Watch these little beta males. Probably like that person that was in the chat earlier. He probably hangs out in this crowd. Bunch of soy boy beta males, cucks, trying to break this statue, kicking it. Watch. It's so funny. Look at these losers. Watch one of them kick it. You see this nerd kick the statue? He goes, what a beta male. You know, I would drop every one of these fools. Look at him kicking it. Don't hurt yourself, guys. You can't move it. Yo, this girl right here kicks harder than all these dudes. Look at this dude in the blue coming up. Watch him kick this statue. This chick kicks harder than all those dudes. She might have been taking some taekwondo or something, thinking she was strong. But look at this nerd who's about to kick the statue. Hold on. One more time. This guy in the blue. Watch the guy in the blue. One more time.
Across the world, statues are under attack. Over the past 2 weeks...
Now, don't let me make you think this is a new thing in America. This has been happening all over the world. And it's an old tradition when there's, you know, tyrannical leaders, fascist governments, people rally together and they tear the statues down. I don't really have a problem with that. But the problem is that these dumb college kids, these dumb liberals, are tearing down statues for the wrong reason. They're tearing down statues because of the idea of racism and slavery. He owns slaves. Oh, we got to put Sacagawea on the $100 bill instead of Benjamin Franklin because he might have owned a slave. Everybody owns slaves. We ended slavery. Quit being stupid.
Monuments to an major turning point in how we relate to the past.
The idea of having these monuments is a...
And here's this Indian lady, Lucia Arado, gonna tell us about how it's all about racism. It's all about racism.
About the continuity of this power that is white power, and if
white
they
power.
Remain around this because racism and white supremacy, in this country, they are pretty much alive.
So she thinks that white people are superior to her. That's what that means. If you're talking about white supremacy, you think white people are supreme. I mean, you said it, not me. You said it, not me. But that's what it all comes down to, hating the white man. Specifically hating the Christian white man. Straight, white, Christian, American men. The most hated thing in the world. They hate us because they ain't us. It's about strength. They don't like strength. They want everybody to be weak soy boys because they're weak soy boys.
Statues, do they glorify the past or simply remind us of it?
So if anybody ever tells you history was written by the victor, that's stupid. That's wrong. That's stupid. It's not true. You can go to a library and you can find history books written by people who on sides that lost wars. You can look at the history, unless, like in the example of like Egypt, if the library was burnt down, but you can still find history about it. You can still find hieroglyphs. You can still study other languages and read other books from other places and read different histories from different places. When I'm talking about the rewriting of history, I'm talking about how they're literally teaching kids the opposite of the truth to build up an emotional response in these kids to hate certain races. They're teaching hate to the kids. They're indoctrinating the kids. And I've said before, I don't have a problem with indoctrination. In fact, I believe all kids are necessarily and unavoidably indoctrinated. All kids get indoctrinated. There's nothing wrong with indoctrination. The problem is the doctrine. If the doctrine is evil and wrong and false and a lie and meant to make you hate a certain group of people, white people, then that indoctrination is wrong. If you're indoctrinated into a good message, I don't have a problem with it. All kids are indoctrinated. Kids' minds are sponges. Kids are going to be indoctrinated one way or another. It's unavoidable. There's no way you can stop it unless you just put the kid in a box like the Spartans did and raise it with no physical contact. They were still indoctrinated into being warriors. All children are indoctrinated. It is unavoidable. It is a 100%. A kid is going to be indoctrinated by something. The problem is if the doctrine is harmful, and they're teaching a harmful doctrine to these kids. They're teaching these kids to hate white people. They're teaching these kids, if you're not white, you're a victim of the evil white man, the blue-eyed white devil. I don't even have blue eyes. I got brown eyes and brown hair. I'm a wasp. I ain't no Caucasian. I ain't never been to the Caucasus Mountains. I ain't no Aryan. Maybe I might have that I got some German in me. But like black people talk about, we don't even know where we're from. We don't know what country we're even from. I don't know where I'm from. I don't even believe in that stuff. I don't even believe genes are real. I don't even believe in DNA. I don't care about my ancestry. They're dead. Let the dead bury the dead. Right now, the present, the past doesn't exist. The future doesn't exist. Take no thought of tomorrow. Today will suffice for itself. Worry about today. Who cares about your ancestors and what happened 300 years ago? My people, my people. Those aren't your people. You never met them. You don't know them. You've never been to Africa. You've never been to whatever country your great-great-great-grandparents came here from. I can look at last names and I can figure out that I probably have some German and English in me. I'm probably what they would call a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, a WASP. But I'm not a Protestant. I believe in a lot of stuff Protestants believe in. I believe in a lot of stuff Calvinists believe in. I believe in a lot of stuff that other denominations of Christianity believe in. But I'm a Christian. That's the only identity I have. I don't have no identity with white, with Germany, with England. I've never been to Germany or England. Why do I care? I don't care what your ancestor did. I don't care what my ancestor did. They're dead and gone. They're in the dirt. Hopefully they went to heaven. But maybe they did, maybe they didn't. That's not for us to decide. It's not important. But they're indoctrinating these kids to believe that that's all that matters. That's all that matters. So they're rewriting American history right before our eyes and teaching it to these kids. And it's destroying the kids. Kids are getting dumber and dumber and dumber. That's part of the communist plan. Educate them longer, but teach them less. So it used to be you'd go to school, first grade through 12th grade, first grade through 8th grade. And then you start working on the farm. You start learning real life trades. You don't need to be educated. Educated. When people talk about educated means you went to school. You paid money to go to college to learn something that you could have learned for free by just reading a book. But you had to be taught to read a book by a school. You had to be taught I before E except after C, even though that's not true. That's not true. It's not I before E except after C. There's a lot of times when E comes before an I. They teach you these little limericks, these little pneumatic devices that are wrong. Being educated is where somebody else is teaching you. The Bible says, let no man teach you. You should you can learn from somebody else, but then you don't take that word just because they said it. You need to go look into it for yourself. Somebody tells you something interesting, you should look into it for yourself. Do your own research. Go read. You don't need to pay a bunch of money to go to college to have some guy up on his high horse, some professor who went to college to get a doctor put in front of his name so that people have to call him doctor. You don't have to have these people teaching you stuff. You can learn on your own. You don't need to be educated. You can be knowledgeable without education. They're just and now they're educating people completely wrong. So we have a list of statues that were taken down during the George Floyd protests. The statue of Charles Lynn, toppled by protesters who unsuccessfully attempted to remove the nearby Confederate soldier. Yeah, they couldn't get the statue down, so they went over to a smaller statue. They're so weak. They're so beta. Let's see, what else? We got Confederate Soldiers and Sailors Monument in Birmingham, Alabama. We got the bust of Robert E. Lee in Fort Myers, Florida. Now our president has a bust of Che Guevara in his office, who's a communist. But we can't have a bust of Robert E. Lee, a great Confederate soldier, a great man. We can't have his bust up. Statue of Robert E. Lee, Bentonville Confederate Monument. Removal announced during protests. Athens Confederate Monument, Nash County Confederate Monument. They're removing our history. They're erasing our history, and they're rewriting it to say that America was built on the backs of slaves and that this is a racist country and that we were just built on racism. No, we were built on Christianity. That's what this country was built on. And people don't even realize that nowadays. They'll try to deny it because you bought into this revisionist Marxist history. You've fallen into the communism that you supposedly are against. Open your eyes, people. Unions, communists. 2-day work weeks, communists. Minimum wage, communist. All this communist stuff that we've accepted now as normal. That's progressive. Stop accepting things as normal, that aren't America. You're not conserving anything. You're being a progressive. Stop it. And if it applies, if it don't apply, let it fly. So if I'm talking to the people in my audience and y'all are like, well, I'm not that person, I don't think like that, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people like this TDS sufferer commie who comes in the chat under 18 different names, spamming about how much they hate Trump, reeing about how much they hate Trump. I'm talking to people like that. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. If this doesn't apply to you, I'm not talking to you. Okay? The statue of Raphael Semmers, the statue of Sam Davis, John B. Castleman Monument, the University of Alabama Confederate Memorial, Jacksonville Confederate Monument, Denton Confederate Soldier Monument, the Grandstand Confederate Memorial Services Confederate Monument in Texas, in Florida, Alabama, North Carolina, Texas, Florida, Texas, Georgia, Kentucky, Oklahoma, South Carolina, North Carolina, Mississippi, Louisiana, North Carolina, Maryland, Nevada, North Carolina, Florida. Lots of them. All of these statues and monuments that were honoring soldiers in a time in our history that most of these kids will never understand. They're never going to get actual information about it. They're going to get false revisionist Marxist history about it. All these statues. Look how long this list is. I can't even look. It just keeps going and going and going. Hold on. What are these? Virginia. All of these in just Virginia. New Mexico, California, Connecticut, Oregon. I bet you didn't know that it was this many monuments were torn down due to St. Floyd. And then he got monuments put up, and you know who tore down his monuments? God did. God did. God struck lightning at multiple George Floyd. Like 2 of them got struck by lightning and destroyed. Some base dude blew up the Georgia Guidestones. Let's go. But we're not talking about that right now. We don't, and that's not, you want to blow up the Georgia Guidestones, a commie monument that talks about population control. Based. I'm with it. I'm okay with tearing down evil monuments, but I'm not okay with rewriting history and tearing down all of the monuments and hiding the true history of our nation from kids. You want to burn books that are talking about changing your genders and stuff like that? I'm with it. Let's go. You want to tear down a Georgia Guidestone, or God wants to strike lightning on a George Floyd monument? Let's go. I'm with it. I'm not a hypocrite. I'm okay with it if it's right. A tyrannical government is only the government that is too strict on the other side. So when they would call Trump a tyrannical fascist ruler, I like him. I agree with what he's doing. I would call Obama a tyrannical fascist ruler, or Trudeau. It's just the other side. The only difference is I believe one side is right and one side is wrong. And I think they're wrong. I think they're satanic and evil. I don't have a problem with a little bit of fascism as long as it's on the right side. It's not tyrannical. It's only tyrannical when it's on the opposite side of you. But look at all this. So, lots of them. 73 Confederate monuments were removed or renamed last year, report finds. From CNN, after 73 Confederate monuments were removed or renamed in 2021, there are now 723 left in the U.S., according to the Southern Poverty Law Center. Bunch of commies over there at the SPLC, same as the ADL. These think tanks that just want to call everything racist and everything evil and curtail your freedom of speech. The findings were announced Tuesday during the group's news briefing on the release of the third edition of Whose Heritage. The report is part of the organization's efforts toward eradicating hate and white supremacy. In collaboration with activists nationwide. The removal and renamings come at the time when Americans continue to grapple with whether Confederate monuments belong in public spaces. These statues stand as symbols of racism in the U.S. dating back to this. And I'm not even like a huge supporter of the Confederacy. The Confederates were Democrats. Like, I don't fly a Confederate flag because I don't support. It's not because of slavery. I'm against them because they were the true quote unquote racist Democrats, and they haven't changed. There was no party switch. All that happened was people moved. Once the Civil War happened, people from the North moved to the South to buy up that land. So the states flipped, but it wasn't a flip in ideologies. It was just a flip in locations. They just moved to new places. When somebody talks about, oh, the party switched, and no, they didn't. The Democrats are still the quote unquote racists. And I say that because I don't really believe racism is a real thing. I like to call it what it is, which is hatred, which is stupidity, low IQ. But if I'm speaking in common words that people understand, the South, the racists in the South who had slaves were the Democrats. And they still are today. They still have the Negroes in chains to this day with welfare. That's your reparations. They still have it. The North wasn't with that stuff. The North was based. So I'm not even on the side of the Confederates. I just don't like that they're tearing down these monuments of these soldiers who fought in these wars for what they believed in to rewrite our history and blame white supremacy. This is a false narrative. That's what I'm against. So, they're tearing down the monuments. I have one last thing to read from Education Week. You think I'm making this stuff up? If you think I'm lying, here it is right here from Education Week. How should teachers handle the movement to rewrite high school history? Embrace it. It's all there for you. I'm not making this stuff up. I didn't come up with these ideas. Let's read this. Jack Doyle is an activist and adjunct professor of history at the University of Oxford in England. His father, Chris Doyle, teaches at Avon Old Farm School, a Connecticut boarding school for high school boys. Both authors hold doctorates in history. Oh, so that's a reliable source, apparently. Let's listen to the reliable source telling us about how we should embrace the rewriting of American history. How should educators respond to an unprecedented popular effort to remake American history? First, they need to understand that such a movement exists, what it wants, and how it operates. So the movement does exist. Let's find out how it operates. The history reform movement calls for moving U.S. history beyond a focus on elite white males, exposing and analyzing systemic racism, which is fake, it's a lie, and telling inclusive, complex stories across time. A broad spectrum of street-level protesters, teachers and grassroots networks, civil rights groups, civil rights as communists, academics, journalists, and social media influencers are all working to. There's the social media influencers again, backed by George Soros, funded by George Soros. We talked about that last week. Are all working to remake the usable past. what we collectively remember, commemorate, learn in school, omit, forget. The recent successes of this movement are impressive. Advocates of reform have produced bold revisionist curricula. For instance, the New York Times 1619 Project. But pressure, we talked about that before, but pressure on the U.S. military to rename bases honoring Confederate leaders persuaded authorities to remove statues of Confederates, encouraged NASCAR to excise the Confederate flag from sports-sanctioned iconography, just like Nikki Haley did in her state, and spawned hundreds of courses devoted to racism and civil rights. I'm not making this stuff up. This is happening. Liberals will pretend like it's not happening. Oh, these crazy conservatives, they don't know what they're talking about. This is an article from a British dude and a Connecticut dude with doctorates talking about why this is happening and why it should be happening and why it is successful right now. Educators should expect reformers to make similar demands of them. Activists, and students are already insisting on curricular reforms. They will expect diversity hiring and training. They are challenging statuary, researching the histories of persons for whom public buildings are named, objecting to questionable mascots, and publicizing racism in schools, like changing the name of the Washington Redskins because it's a racist name. In our home state, Connecticut, over the last few weeks, Black graduates of several elite private high schools have created Instagram accounts titled Blackat, school name, to document their experience of racism. Students at other schools across the country have been similarly exposing past racist incidents on social media. School leaders should welcome these actions, and their history curricula is one place to take initiative on racial justice. Studies of history education in the United States make for dismal reading. James Lowen's classic Lies My Teacher Told Me, Everything Your American History Textbook Got Wrong, lays out how textbooks provide a highly distorted image of the American past. The history taught in high schools. So they say that what we've been being taught in history is a lie, and they replace it with a new lie, and their lie is better than the old lie. Why can't we do like what DeSantis said? Why can't we learn both sides of the argument? It's the same thing with evolution. They'll teach you evolution in science, even though it's a theory. It can't be proven. It can't be observed. It can't be tested. They'll teach you that as fact, but they won't give you the opposition. They won't give you the opposing argument about a creator. A creator made everything. They won't tell you that. Why can't we give both? If it was let's teach from the slave's perspective and let's teach from the Confederate's perspective, let's teach from the slave owner and the slave's perspective, then I would be then I would be okay with it. The problem is they don't want you to hear the other side. So maybe in the past, maybe we were just telling one side of it. Now they want to tell the other side of it to change the narrative, to push this Marxist victimhood mentality. Why can't we teach both sides of it and let the kids come up with their own opinions? God forbid we have kids thinking for themselves. Critical thinking was a class when I was in school. Now, critical thinking is dead. You just need to listen to your teacher. Your parents don't know what they're talking about. Nobody knows what they're talking about except for your teacher, who's probably a Democrat, probably has pink hair and doesn't know what gender they are. That's where we're at. That's where we're at in America. The history taught in high schools, long dominated by great white men, emphasizes because they built this country. Why shouldn't we talk about the people who built our country, the most honorable men? You know what else I learned in school? I learned about George Washington Carver. I learned about Booker T. Washington. But they want to teach us about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, Malcolm X was a hateful, angry man who was saying death to whitey. Martin Luther King was a socialist. He wanted to reinvent the government. He didn't want to help progress America. He wanted to destroy America. Don't believe the lies you're told about him, but they tell those lies. Why can't we point out those lies that they told us in history? Because they did bolster these people up like they were heroes. They weren't heroes. We can't tell the truth about that, though. We only have to tell the truth that the white man was evil, the evil, racist white man. Emphasizes relentless progress for all and avoids nuanced discussion for race, class, or gender. There's the Marxism, race, class, and gender. Almost every year, new studies, some themselves controversial, expose Americans' poor history awareness. The traditional approach to history has failed. There are certain curricular red flags. Historians Fred Anderson and Andrew Clayton observed that school book history is anchored by 3 good wars for freedom: the Revolutionary War, birthing Americans' commitment to liberty; the Civil War, extending freedom to enslaved people; World War II, exporting American freedom worldwide. So goes the sanitized classroom and Hollywood story. Hollywood doesn't tell this story. What about movies like Amistad, The Color Purple? Hollywood tells the opposite story. Hollywood tells the fake history that you want pushed on kids. Wars not fitting the freedom theme, including Vietnam, Korea, Spanish American, and hundreds of nameless conflicts against indigenous peoples, got relegated to the margins or glossed over. No, we had segments in school about all of those things, at least when I was in school. Maybe it's not the same now. The expansion and imperialism that have driven many American wars deserve a far more complex treatment, argue Anderson and Clayton. The cautionary lesson is to avoid oversimplifying the past into hyper-patriotic narratives. Why shouldn't we be patriotic? If your curriculum trends that way, it needs rewriting. So the traditional approach to history has failed. I'm not going to read all of this stuff. Well, it's not much longer. Let's finish reading this, and then we'll be done with the main story news. The traditional approach to history has failed. Yet some cultural forces conspire to shape history into hyper-patriotic narratives. As Gary Nash, Charlotte Crabtree, and Ross E. Dunn discussed in their 1999 book, The Creation of National Standards for American History, roiling conflicts exist between historians who dislike the politicization of their subject and conservative politicians and pundits who prefer a narrative of American exceptionalism. America is exceptional. At least we were. What's wrong with that? Exceptionalists embrace the idea that America is inherently superior to other nations, and so normally, not inherently, we worked hard to earn that superiority. It's not an inherent superiority. So normal rules of history do not apply here. They depict America as a land of opportunity, which it is, for all, praise capitalism, it should be praised, downplay imperialism. Imperialism is wrong. It's the harmful side effect of extreme capitalism. And I don't think we should have imperialism. I think we should defend our own borders and stop supporting every country in the world and trying to spread our power, except Venezuela. We should take over Venezuela and get that oil. And characterize protests as misguided, dangerous, or deranged. Most of them are. Scholars have challenged and largely destroyed this upbeat school book tradition. Prize-winning studies of race, gender, foreign policy, war, capitalism, unions, immigration, cities, and politics paint a more inclusive, conflict-oriented picture of the past, but academic history rarely reaches high school history classrooms. There's like 4 paragraphs left. Oh, look, they talk about Ibram X. Kendi. This moment is an opportunity for white educators to do critical work with our students, institutions, and ourselves. White readers are reaching for Michelle Alexander's The New Jim Crow, Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me, and Ibram X. Kennedy's How to Be an Anti-Racism. Ibram X. Kendi, the guy that we talked about a week or two ago, who wasted $43 million in funding for what? A content house. Same as Patrice O'Neill. Young protesters are demonstrating their vividly present understandings of the words of Malcolm X and Angela Davis and the complicated history of the raised fists of black power and labor unionists. Communists. This is the commie fist. The black power fist is a communist symbol. The labor unionists were communists who took over violently with violent protests. We've talked about all of this before. So, last paragraph. These impulses exemplify a mass desire to act. White educators must now go beyond reading and private discussions to embody organizer Leslie Mack's insistence that being anti-racist is a verb. So it's an action. You have to act. You have to take action to be an anti-racist. Students are getting an extraordinary, vital insight into the doing of history, one absent from American history textbooks, a scholarship of activism. We have an obligation to meet them where they are, teach, listen, and learn from them. Nonsense. So there's proof. The rewriting of history is happening. American history. They're pushing a Marxist narrative on us, and it's a mess. What do you think? What do you think? It's kind of irritating, you know? You try to see people as people, you know? I try to not think about race and stuff, but they force this stuff on the kids. They force it down our throats. Hey, don't drop links in my chat. I didn't ban you, I just removed your comment. I don't want links in my chat unless I know you, or if I'm asking for links to videos, then you can put the links in. But right now, that's not what we're doing. So don't put links in my chat. Don't be a bot. Don't spam. If you want to, you're derailing the conversation. If you want to talk about what we're talking about, then comment. Otherwise, I think you're just a bot. All right. So that's that. That's all we got. What do you guys think? They're rewriting history. They're shoving racism down the kids' throats, teaching them that white people are inherently racist and all this other nonsense. It's a mess. It's a mess. But that's all we got for the main story news. All right. Y'all know what time it is. Let me get my folder open. Let's take a little break from talking for a second. Have a sip of the brewski. All right. What do we got next? Do we got real people watching? Let me know if you're a real person watching and you're not a bot trying to post links or complain about Trump. Let me know in the chat. Say what up. I'll say hi to you. Read your chats, all the good stuff. Hit the like button and hit the follow button. You know, we got 30 people watching. We only got 7 likes. I don't know what's wrong with you guys. All you got to do is click it. If you don't have a Rumble account, you should probably make a Rumble account because Rumble is the home for wayward content creators. And we need more people to sign up for Rumble. What's your opinion on Mexican? On Mexican? I like Mexicans if they're in Mexico. I don't mind Mexicans coming over legally if they go through the proper procedures. Unfortunately, we have so much illegal immigration that it damages the ability for the legal immigrants to get over here. They're waiting in line how they're supposed to do. They're doing everything right, but all these legal immigrants are making problems for them. And I don't like that. So I have no problem with legal immigration. I have a problem with illegal immigration. I don't have a problem with Mexicans or Mexico. I do think we need to put the wall up. Oh, the wall going up. Oh, the wall going up. But as with every good wall, there will be a front door. You don't come in through the side. You don't jump the gate. You don't go under the gate. You come in through the front door the right way. And I have no problem with that. You know, I have no problem with immigrants from anywhere as long as they do it the right way. I'm just against illegal immigration flooding our country. What's up, Jeff Hewitt? We out here listening. Nice. Thank you, sir. So yeah, my opinion on Mexico, Mexicans. I think they have don't they have like the 3rd largest economy in the world? I know right now, California, you can't get any fruits or vegetables that are grown in California. They're getting all their stuff from Mexican cartels. If you buy avocados, you're funding the cartel. Just so you know. Not a fan of the cartels. Not a fan of importing Chinese fentanyl over our border. But as a whole, and I feel this way with every country. I think every country should have its own national identity and its own values and its own culture. And I have no problem with Muslims being Muslims in a Muslim country. I have no problem with Mexicans having a Mexican culture and a Mexican national identity in their country. But globalism doesn't work. Diversity, equity, and inclusion doesn't work. If you're going to come to America, you need to assimilate to our American values. You need to speak the language. You know, ideally, you need to be a Christian, but we don't really have a Christian nation anymore. But we should. Your theology, your language, you know. And then the one area where I'm totally fine with diversity, equity, and inclusion is with food. I want to try all y'all's food. I love me some Mexican food. I love me some I like the dang the hamburgers from Hamburg, the bratwurst from Germany. Only food I don't like is Indian food. No offense to Indian people, but I cannot stand curry. Indian food is gross. I don't like it. I love Japanese food. I love Asian food. I love sushi. I love burritos and tacos and quesadillas. I love me some I love me some German food. I love all the different foods from all over the world, all the exotic treats, except for Indian food. No offense, Indians, y'all are smart, but I ain't eating nothing with curry on it. It's gross. That's my opinion. So we can have diversity, equity, and inclusion with our dinner. So you're not a fan of diversity? No, I think diversity is communist, and no, we are not a melting pot. I'm fine with diversity. I just want them to be diverse in their own country. Have your own country, have your own culture and your own religious beliefs. I don't have any problem with Hindus or Muslims or all that stuff. They can all have their own thing in their own place. I have no problem with that. I'm not a fan of imperialism, taking over other countries and trying to incorporate everybody. America is not a melting pot. That's a communist idea. And our diversity is not our strength, it's our weakness. We need to be united as Americans. There's going to be no global unity. The globalists might tell you that one day we're going to have one world religion, one world currency, and one world identity. No, that's not the case. We're different. That's why God separated the nations at the Tower of Babel, because everybody came together and they all spoke the same language and they wanted to be like God. So they started building a tower to God. Our modern day Tower of Babel is the AI and the space travel and all this stuff. It doesn't work. We're supposed to be individual, have our own tribes, our own tribal values, and our own cultures. That's a tale as old as time. When everybody tried to get together as one, it doesn't work. So no, I'm not a fan of diversity. I'm okay with diversity, but be diverse where you in your space. You got your country, you got your culture, you got your space, stay there. And if you got problems in your country, don't come to my country and try to bring your beliefs to my country. Fix what you got where you are. Your people should band together and fix your government. If you like our model, then make our model where you live. Don't come to our country with your ideas. Nope. And if you think that's racist or you think that's bigoted, then I'm a racist bigot. Let's go. Let's go. That's right. I'm a Christian nationalist. I believe this country was founded on Christianity, and I believe our Christian values should be over everything else. But I love your food. Bring the food. I'll eat the food. That's all I got to say about that. Guys, let's lighten it up. What's your opinion on Mexican Americans? I don't believe it's a thing. You're either Mexican or you're an American. If you were born in Mexico and you come to America and you get citizenship, you are now an American. There's no such thing as an African American or a Mexican American. You're either Mexican or you're American. You can't be from two countries. You could say, I'm from Mexico, but now I'm an American because I'm a citizen. If you're from America or if you're from Mexico and you come here illegally, then you're not you're not an American. You're an illegal Mexican. You're a Mexican who's here illegally. You didn't follow the rules. You didn't follow the laws of the land, and you came here illegally. If you're black and you live in America, you're an American. I'm a Native American. I don't believe in this indigenous people, Native Americans. I'm a Native American. I'm a native Floridian. I was born in Florida. Now I live in Utah, so I'm a native Utahnian. but I'm a Native American. If you're black and you were born in America, guess what? You're not an African American. You're an American. If you're Mexican, if your parents came from Mexico and came here and had you, you're not a Mexican American. You're an American. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. As long as it's done legally and done the right way. But I'm not going to call you a Mexican American. I'm going to call you an American. That's stupid. They don't do that with any other country. No other country. And they don't do that with white people either. So My ancestors are from Germany and England. Nobody calls me a German English American. Why is that only specific to minorities in this country? Because it's a Marxist idea. It's a Marxist idea to push a victimhood mentality into other people. I want us to be united as Americans in this country, our culture, our values, our beliefs. You come here, you assimilate, you're an American now. You speak English, and you love Jesus. Straight up. And if you don't, we should banish you. I don't believe in the death sentence unless it's very, very clear. Very, very clear. No shadow of a doubt. No jury, no corrupt courts. If a cop walks up on somebody who's bathing in the blood of 28 people who are dead around him, yeah, you can execute that person. But otherwise, no death sentence. God decides who lives and who dies. Banish them. Build a wall. Have a moat with some alligators. Feed the wolves outside the wall. Banishment. That's it. What about American with Mexican roots? Your roots aren't real. That's not real. That's a fallacy. Your roots aren't real. You never met those people. Your ancestry, your heritage, it's unimportant. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. You don't have Mexican roots. If you were born in America, you're an American. Forget about that stuff. The past doesn't exist. Let the dead bury the dead. Let the dead bury the dead. Stop worrying about what happened 10,000 years ago. You can pick any time. What time are we going off of? We're going off of 300 years. What if you go back to 10,000 years? You're not actually Mexican. You're actually Aztec. What if you go back another couple thousand years? Oh, you're not actually Aztec. They crossed the land bridge and there was Pangea. You're actually from Africa. You're actually, well, let's go back farther. We all came out under incest from Adam and Eve in Mesopotamia. We're all African, or we're all Middle Eastern. Like, how far back do you want to go? It's dumb. It's irrelevant. If you were born in America, you're an American. That's all that matters. That's it. We always want to think about the past and worry about the past. It doesn't matter. It's gone. Live in the present. Worry about now. You can't ride two horses at once. Are you Mexican or American? Exactly. Exactly. Be one or the other. If you're Mexican and you're in America illegally, then you're a Mexican. You're not a Mexican American. You're a Mexican who's in America illegally. If you're Mexican and you came to America the right way and you got your citizenship, guess what? You're an American now. I don't want to hear nothing about dual citizenship. No, you're not living in two places at the same time. Dual citizenship. If you want to be a Mexican American, then I'm going to be a German English American. Like, it's dumb. Let's use our words correctly. Let's get back to reality and stop living in the past. But enough of that. Thank you for your comments, Coco Melon. Bunch of numbers. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate it. It was relevant to the topic, but fortunately or unfortunately, it's time to get to the memes, guys. It's meme time. And we got a lot of them this week. We got a buttload of memes this week. We got a whole lot of memes. Yo, let's go with my boy Bryce Mitchell. Thug Nasty. My favorite fighter in the UFC. I didn't realize, I'm a filthy casual, as my brother calls me. He's like deep into UFC. I watch all the fights. I stream during all the fights. I love MMA. I love UFC. I'm an old head. I was around when the UFC started, when Royce Gracie was mopping the floors with everybody. I'm an old head. But the new age, I'm not up to date on all the names and everybody. I didn't know Bryce Mitchell was Christian like that. Now, he is a flat earther. I disavow. I disavow the flat earth stuff. As I've said many times, it's an op, it's a fake conspiracy theory that was put out to discredit the real conspiracy theories, and it's also put out to make Christians look dumb. The four founders of the new flat earth movement are all atheists, but yet the major majority of flat earthers are Christians, and I think that it was an op by Satan worshiping atheists to make Christians look bad and look dumb. So I disavow the flat earth stuff, but everything else Bryce Mitchell says, I'm with it. Thug Nasty is that boy. He pulled out a Bible in the octagon and he prayed on his knees with his opponent, and he donated money to his opponent who was Hawaiian after he said that Hawaii was a man-made, the fires were man-made, and it was super based. So I love me some Thug Nasty. Let's go, Bryce Mitchell. Let's go. Bryce Mitchell versus Satan. I'm ready for that fight. When are we going to get that fight? All right. Next. When you fight through all the tech support and have to face the final boss. Dark. Bakalaka dark. That's the final boss at tech support. We got a lot of memes this week, so we need to just burn through them. Next. Just call me Texas Ranger because I'm about to be somebody's walker. Oh, my Lord. You see a bunch of old ladies in bikinis? Call me Texas Ranger because I'm about to be somebody's walker. Dang. Let's take some pictures of that. Next. If Build Back Better was a hula hoop. Build Back Better. Lowercase b is a 6. 666. Ooh, I'm on some numerology and finding some codes. Dang. You know, we're going to have a new fan. We're going to have a new fan. He didn't like me before. He's going to like me now that we're getting on the codes. Build Back Better. 666. The number of the beast. We need to go full screen. That's a scary hula hoop right there. That hula hoop is scary. All right. Next. Go ahead. Can you guys figure this out? Figure this out. Go ahead. Which O? This is called an UGG. This is called an UGG, and this is a glass. Go ahead with your UGG glass. Go ahead with your UGG glass. Go ahead with your UGG glass. That's cool. Nice. All right. Next. God, give me a sign. Come on, God, give me a sign. This God says, God ain't doing that. That's not God. That's called pareidolia. Well, pareidolia is when you're seeing faces and things that aren't there, but I think it could also apply to when you're seeing shapes and finding shapes and everything. That's called pareidolia. It's a sign of mental illness. But that's God giving you a sign. God, what kind of sign is that? What up, Robbie Downtown Brown? The government didn't shut down. Guys at the post office wearing a frown. There's $1 million rhyme right there. What's up, Nell and Ray? Welcome back. Glad you came back. WH Grandpa got me up to like 4,700 subs on YouTube. We're still 300 off of cutting the dreadlocks. So it may not happen on the date that I planned it on because it's kind of slowed down, but I'm fine with that. I'm honestly fine with having a little more time with my luscious locks, you know. It's going to hurt to let them go, but I'm glad that the sub count has gone up. It went up a good chunk and it slowed down, and I'm happy with that because now we can have 300 subscribers of organic growth. Does it count as organic growth if somebody raids my Rumble stream and then posts on their Twitter and has their followers come follow me? I guess it still does. I'm 100% against buying subscribers. I'm 100% against using programs to grow your thing or follow for follow. You follow me, I'll follow you. I'm against all that stuff. My YouTube channel is 100% organic growth. And I want people coming to the channel who are going to watch my videos and interact and all that good stuff. So when I was blowing up and I got like 900 subscribers in a week, I was like, I hope these people, you know, actually come to the channel and hang out when I start streaming there again, once I get off my ban, or they come to the Rumble show. And people like you, Nell and Ray, I'm glad to have you here. So if we pick up a few regulars, I will appreciate it. And I'm good with that. So, but we got 300 more to go. Hopefully those 300 are at a more normal pace for my channel, which gives me another 2 or 3 months with the dreads. Next, Ariana Grande used to look like Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Now she looks like Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Dang. Ariana Grande. She's been on the opposite of whatever Michael Jackson was on. He was bleaching his skin. A lot of these girls be darkening the skin. But I'm okay with a tan. I'm okay with a nice tan, but don't go overboard with it. They're doing the opposite of what Michael Jackson did. Sad. Next, Disney's nightmare scenario. Oh, me and Daddy Jub have been talking about this for a while. So we were talking about Sean O'Malley, Sean Strickland, and Colby Covington being the trinity of white boy champions in the UFC. I didn't even consider if Bryce Mitchell gets in there. We got Sean O'Malley, who's going and hanging out with Andrew Tate. Sean O'Malley, he's got pink hair. He's got tattoos on his face, but he's based, okay? He's a based dude. He smokes pot, but he's still pretty based. Colby Covington, the OG patriot of the UFC. Sean Strickland, white boy summer. Straight up white boy summer with Sean Strickland. Bryce Mitchell, what if he gets a belt? Man, the Bible thumping king defeating Satan in the ring. Let's go. We get Sean Strickland, Colby Covington, Bryce Mitchell, and Bryce Mitchell as champions in the UFC. Man, I'm going to have to buy some UFC stock. We're going to have to get in there with the UFC stock because it's white boy summer coming up. Let's go. Next. That one person that pops up in the commentary just to say, not funny.
Beta.
Yep. Beta. Definitely beta. That's like the person we had in the chat earlier coming in under 38 different names. Got sent by grandpa, but my husband and I listened together and we tried to plan to listen again. We love the way the Bible stories. Yeah, at the end, I'm going to do Daniel in the Lion's Den tonight. I think a lot of people liked the Bible story, and I didn't have anything else to talk about in the last segment, so I'm going to talk about Daniel in the Lion's Den. But next, are lesbians with fat fingers considered well hung? Think about it. If you got chunky fingers, is that considered well hung? What's Robbie saying? Hoping for the Discord hour. I have a great story. Similar to Mike the Headless Chicken, but with humans. What? There's a human whose head fell off. If your head gets chopped off, you still blink for a little while. It's like the brain is still active while blood is still flowing. Maybe I'll do some Discord before the last segment because I know you got to go to bed early. Next, when your Facebook friends don't recognize you without the filters on. It's me, Elizabeth. Ladies, stop it with the filters, okay? You can tell when it's a filter. You can tell that it's a filter. We know you don't really look like that, okay? Put your real picture up there. Stop deceiving men on the internet. Next. Love is really strong, but a combine harvester is even stronger. Oh, no. Don't lay down in the grass fields because if the combine harvester comes along, it might look a little something like this. I guess that guy knows what it's like to be a Democrat. So true. So true. Do not get caught in a combine harvester while you're laying in the grass. Like in the movie Armageddon, when, what's the Aerosmith guy's name? His daughter? Man, I can't remember their names. And Ben Affleck are laying in the grass. If I could stay awake just to hear you breathing. That's morbid. Next, the invention of glue. I bet if we melt a horse, we could use it to stick stuff to other stuff. Dude, is everything okay at home? That's how they invented glue. They friggin' melted a horse so they could stick stuff to other stuff. This guy's got some mental issues, but he came up with one of One of the most greatest inventions ever. What would kids have to eat and sniff if it wasn't for this guy? Next. Yes, I'll have the Greta Thunberg, please. Wendy's the movie. Dun, 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 dun. The Evil Eye. Greta Thunberg. The Wendy's movie coming soon. Nice. Next. My organic immune system looking at your altered DNA. You filthy half-breeds. We are only pure bloods here. Only pure bloods allowed here, you filthy half-breeds. Mudbloods. We're going to call you mudbloods like Harry Potter said. Nice. I agree.
It's a man, baby.
Next. Don't call yourself a 70s music fan if you don't recognize this famous group. Squeal like a pig, boy. Oh no. Those guys on that mountain playing that banjo.
I am not gay. I have relationships with women and sex with men.
And I got news for you.
That means you're gay.
That means you're gay.
If you're making a guy squeal like a pig, you got problems. Next. When you buy a clock from Iraq, 10 o'clock, 9:59. Wait, what? Why is it counting down? Why is this alarm clock from Iraq counting backwards? What the? Oh no. You got 10 seconds. 10 seconds before the boom. I wish I had a bomb sound effect. We have that. We have the nuke sound effect. Next. I'm going to tell my kids this was Goldberg, Ric Flair, and The Rock. Yeah. I want to see these guys fight. Battle to the death. Battle Royale. Goldberg, Ric Flair, woo! And The Rock. If you smell what Obama is cooking. It doesn't matter what your name is, Joe. Next. I wouldn't tell anyone I won the lottery, but there will be hints. There will be hints. When you see a lobster floating in my ramen, we call that lamrin. Then you know I hit the lottery big time, baby. Let's go. Ramen isn't good for the carnivore diet. It's too much sodium. Well, sodium's okay, especially when you're on a carnivore diet. But all those carbs, that's like eating cardboard. Next. South Carolina man finds F-35 in his backyard. It ain't got no seat in it. It ain't got no seat in it. I like my biscuits with mustard. I got a sling blade. Some call it a Kaiser blade. I call it a sling blade. Yep, and I got this F-35 that landed in my backyard, but it ain't got no seat in it. Great movie. Next. Hear me out. Maybe freeing Brittney was a bad move. We'll talk about the Brittney playing with knives story later, but where's all the people who are yelling, free Brittney, free Brittney? Now Brittney's playing with knives. She wants to be ninja. Brittney wants to be a ninja. She's playing with knives. Put her back under her parental supervision. She's going to be fighting the lions in the lion's den. Next. Meanwhile, the McDonald's in Japan, being super based, Dragon Ball McDonald's, you get Dragon Ball cards, you get Goku, you get freaking everything. Why can't we have cool McDonald's like Japan has? Next, nerd meme. Jesus Ayala. Oh, Jesus. Jesus Ayala. We call him Jesus because he's white passing. Jesus Ayala is a Latino teen who drove into and killed retired cop Andreas. Booking papers says he's white. It's Jesus. Jesus was white, right? You should check out what I sent you in Messenger. But whoa. What the? What is that? That's Andre the Giant versus a really tall guy? Robbie, I have the full story behind it. Robbie, I can tell that picture's fake though. It's funny, but it's not real. Let me see. Let me pull this up. This is what Robbie just sent me. Robbie, that's obviously photoshopped. That's a tall guy and Andre the Giant. Look, you can see his legs right here where they didn't even edit the photo very good. You could see the background in between his legs here. This is not a real picture, dude. What story do you have behind it? It's funny. Great meme, but it's not a real picture. Come on now. You can see they didn't even crop out the background from in between his legs. This is badly photoshopped. All right, next meme. Gay pride, celebrate. Obama is gay. No, he's not. You're smearing him. Conspiracy. Conspiracy.
Beta!
Beta.
I am not gay. I have relationships with women and sex with men.
And I got news for you. That means you're gay.
Obama's gay. Why are they so mad about it? Next. When the pudding kicks in. Put the spoon in the pudding. When the pudding kicks in, you get a little drowsy. No, I disavow this meme. Those girls knew exactly what they were getting into when they got Quaaludes from Bill Cosby at his house party. They knew what they were getting into. I disavow this meme. He wasn't slipping Quaaludes in their pudding. He was getting the pudding after he gave them some Quaaludes. Bill Cosby was innocent, and he's already been freed. He wasn't doing nothing. Now, it was degenerate what he was doing, but it wasn't what they were saying he was doing. Next. Just Joe Biden doing his laundry. Laundry. Not fake, brother. Save it for later. Oh, man. Robbie, you could see how badly photoshopped that was. You could see it. It was very obvious. What was his name? Big John Stud? Nope. Big John Stud is not that guy. Yeah. Yeah, this is it's on Reddit. Here you go. A depiction of what Andre the Giant would have looked like standing next to Robert Wadlow, the tallest human being ever recorded. By the time Wadlow turned 8 years old, he was already taller than his father. This is not a real picture, Robbie. This never happened. This is just showing, you can see the bad cropping in between his legs. It's right there. Come on, man. Laundering. Next. That's just Biden doing his laundry for Ukraine. Only blue can prevent laser fires. Get your blue umbrella, guys. We've talked about this before. I don't actually believe this. It's been easily debunked, but it is funny and it is fun for the memes. But if you really want to prevent yourself from laser fires, all you need is a desk. You need a school desk, because when you hide under your desk, it protects you from school shooters, nukes, lasers, everything. Next. KFC, Taylor Swift special. 2 bony thighs, 2 small breasts, and a left wing. You get the left wing, you get the Democrats, you get 2 bony thighs and 2 small breasts with the Taylor Swift special. We got stories about Taylor Swift coming up. We won't spend too long on it because I'm really not that interested. I have the whole story. Robbie, it's not a real story. Come on, man. Don't be gullible, bruh. Next. There's Trudeau. I just pulled up the story, and it's not a really, there is no story. Andre the Giant did not fight Robert Wadlow. That was just showing what it would look like if he stood next to him. It's a meme. It's funny. I know the story of Robert Ludlow. I already know the story of the tallest man. Yeah. He died because he was growing too fast for his body. But he didn't fight Andre the Giant. That picture's not real. Next. Japanese researchers use soybean compound to turn male fish into females. Isoflavin successfully used as a gender bender. We've been telling you, we're trying to tell you, Soylent Green, it's people. Soylent Green is people. Soy milk, this is why Asians are so short and they're so androgynous and the men look just like women. They eat a lot of soy. Don't eat the soy, men. Next. Proposed map. New York and California are sick of supporting these red welfare states. This is their proposed map. The United States of Canada. Put New York and California in there. The red is Jesus land. Your terms are acceptable. We will accept your terms. I'm down with that. Let's go. You can have Washington. You can have Michigan and these states up here, Missouri. You can have Pennsylvania. You can have New York. You can have New Jersey. New Jersey's all right. I kind of like New Jersey. They're kind of cool. You can have all California. You can have all of that. I am definitely fine with that map right there. Next. Calling all the truckers Nazis. Inviting a literal Nazi to parliament. Trudeau falls off his bike. Why would Vladimir Putin do this to me?
Beta!
Yep, sounds about right, Trudeau. Next, makes millions singing about her bad choices of men. Endorses Joe Biden. Sounds about right there, Taylor Swift, the new Democrat spokesperson. Sounds about right. Next. A large group of Karens is called a homeowners association. Now, we disavowed the word Karen. That's a racial slur for white women. But the meme is not wrong. The meme is not wrong. Man, we mow the lawn at this one apartment complex, and the lady who runs the homeowners association there is always telling us to do extra work that we don't get paid to do. And they want all this stuff done to the apartments, but they don't have the money to do it because the homeowners association is only taking so much from the residents and it's not enough to cover it. And like, she's always mad at us. It's funny. It's funny. Maybe charge your homeowners more and then you can get all that work done. What a mess. Next. Everybody get on board the Trump train. Toot, toot. I wish I had a train sound. I have this. No, that's not good. Do we have a train sound? Looks like we don't have a train sound. That kind of sounded like a train. Get aboard the Trump train. Let's go. Everyone on board the Trump train. All right. Next. We got to get through these mean fast. Oh, everybody doing the stiff arm. All the Canadians in Parliament doing the stiff arm. Supporting a Nazi. What the? Next. You told me you were sick. No, I said I had a case of corona. Not the fake virus. I have a case of beer. Corona extra. Corona extra. Especial. La cerveza más fina. Duh. I was talking about beer. But that's made by Anheuser-Busch, so we don't buy that. Next. Coming soon, the story of Dianne Feinstein from Netflix. She black. Oh, she black. She black. She black. Wow. Next. Look who's voting by mail this year. Dianne Feinstein. Yep, sounds about right. Harper Valley PTA. What's that mean? What size shoes you wear? I don't know. Next. We got to get faster through these memes. I know what you did last summer. I know what you did last summer, Pence. Pence, I know what you did last summer. It was a mistake. It was the biggest mistake. Some say it was the worst mistake anyone's ever made, Pence. And we all know. We all know, Pence. Next. Oh my God. I finally got her. I saw this same meme with a different caption. It said, just give me Just give me a Joe Biden and a Mitch McConnell next. Death playing the claw game. He got Feinstein. Oh no. She did. R.I.P. Next. Taylor Swift. I'm a Christian, and people with real Christian values support abortion. How about no?
Beta!
How about no? How about no? You're a liar. You're evil. You don't know the first thing about being a Christian. How about no? Next. Evil. Socialist propaganda then. Oh, we got another Greta Thunberg meme. Socialist propaganda then. Socialist propaganda now. Oh, socialist propaganda now. Greta Thunberg looks a lot like the socialist propaganda from back then. Interesting. Because the Nazis were democratic socialists. Did you know that? Next. Free porn is a tool by the government to distract you from dry fire training in your free time. How do you do, that's not Boomhauer, that's Dale. Free porn is a tool by the government to distract you from dry fire training in your free time. Sounds about right. Yep, that sounds about right. Next. Teachers when I was a kid. I hope everyone has a good recess. It's time for math. Oh, they look so wholesome and nice. Teachers now. Whiteness is a privilege. Now who's ready to hear about my sexuality? Wow.
Beta! It's a man, baby!
Yep, that sounds about right. Next. Only females menstruate. Source! Source! What's your source? What's your source on that? Give me your source. Yep, sounds about right. Next. Joe, nobody needs 30 shots to kill a deer. Me. And nobody needs 10 shots to defeat the sniffles. Joe's angry. Angry Joe.
Beta!
That sounds about right. Sounds about right. And that's it for the memes.
Wait till I get my money right.
That's all the memes we have. That's all the memes. All right. What time is it? It's 8:18. That was an on the spot impression of Dale. Homeowner's lady reminded me of Harper Valley, PA. Let me play these funny reels, and then Robbie, if you want to call in and tell me your story, you can. Because it's only 8 o'clock. We can talk for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that. Let me pull these up first. So we don't have a lot of rapid fire news, and the story of Daniel is actually a very short story. So let's watch the reels. And then Robbie can call in on the Discord. Let me see. Let's go here. All right. By the way, when I sold my stock money, I bought an auction of 4 of the cards that I need. I'm playing in a Dragon Ball Super card game tournament on October 21st, and I've been saying for a long time, the deck I want to play, I'm missing some very important cards in it. And the cards are right now sitting at $20 a piece, but I got 4 of them for $50. So that's $80 worth of cards for $50. It was a good deal. I couldn't pass it up. I bought them, and hopefully I can it'll help me place better in the tournament because I got these cards that I really needed for a long time. So October 21st, we'll be live streaming Dragon Ball Super Card Game Tournament. Nerd talk. We do some nerd stuff. You know, I play card games. I play games. Whatever. If you don't like it, cry about it. If you're worried about what a grown man does for fun in his free time, then you're probably a beta. So that's all I got to say about that. It makes me smarter. It sharpens my mind. It's competitive, and I make money off of doing it. So, you know, go complain to somebody else. All right, let's watch these reels. Boom! Damn! Hold on. I swear this looks like it's in Utah because I saw these guys were putting up these windows the other day with one of these cranes, and they broke the window. But it wasn't like that. But let's watch this one more time this one dude gets hit in the face. It bounces up and smacks him in the face. I bet his face was all sliced up, and then it falls to the ground. Hopefully there was no homeless people down there. They just got smashed. Let's watch this again.
Cables already almost maxed out up there.
The cable's almost maxed out up there. It says, where's OSHA when you need him? Watch this dude right here. When it comes down, it bounces up and smacks him in the face, and all the broken glass flies up in his face. I bet you he was all sliced up. Boom! One more time.
Cable's already almost maxed out up there.
Damn. Yeah, that guy was sliced all up. All up. That guy was sliced, my boy. All right. Next. Oh, get this out of here. I surprised myself. Vanilla Ice. This is Blind Fury. To the addicts out there, I hope this doesn't trigger you. This is a song about tweaking, about meth, for the meth heads out there. This is Blind Fury. He's blind, and he just sits on the internet and freestyles all day. This is actually a hilarious freestyle, and I just had to add it in here. It's pretty funny. It's about tweaking.
All right, stop. Roll a bowl and listen. Take all the shit out of the kitchen. Something got a hold of me tightly while everybody be sleeping nightly. Will I ever stop? Yo, I don't know. I've been up 3-4 days in a row. To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal. Ran out of power and so I'm lighting up candles. Dance, cause I be on tweak every damn day of the motherfucking week. That's why I don't never get no sleep, and I lost my bottom and my top front teeth. Yeah, you know the shit deadly, and I already know what they tell me, but I don't care. You know it's not a problem. I just close the blind and I start to rolling my fucking bowl. What? I'm smoking ice, baby. I'm smoking ice, baby.
Hold on, it's not over yet.
I'm smoking ice. Get down, sit on the floor. I sold the couch and everything gotta go. Yo, you know I put Yo, I can't.
He killed it. He killed that. That's so funny. All right, enough of that. All right, we got a September 11th one. Superman.
Superman saves the day again.
What? It still blew up. Hold on. Stop the plane.
Superman saves the day again.
Wait a second. Superman saved the day, but the building still blew up. What just happened? Next. This guy's singing and he passes out. He used up all the oxygen. It says Unc wasted all his oxygen trying to hit that high note. Yo, you ain't got no air in you, my boy. One more. One more time. Unc. He even starts to sing again, and he's got no air left in him. He's feeling dizzy. He's my boom. All right, last one. Last one. This is kind of messed up, but it is funny. Wait, what are you doing? No. Dap it. No. So the little girl kicks through the board. He goes to give her a two-handed high five. Wait, she ain't got no arms. He goes to give her a one-handed high five. No, she ain't got no arms. He goes to give her a fist tap. She ain't got no fist, my boy. But this little girl is awesome, and this guy feels like an idiot right now. One more time. All right, that's that. That's it for the memes. That's it for the real. Oh my God, his head. Robbie, hello. All right, Robbie, where you at? Call in the Discord. Get in the Discord. Tell me what you're going to tell me. I'm going to try to call him one more time. See if he answers. Robbie.
Hey, buddy.
Robbie.
Dang, man. Why
What?
can't I hear you? Hold on a second.
You can't hear me?
Yeah, I can barely hear you.
I hear you just fine.
Hold on. I'm trying to figure it out. This got me in a weird little place here. It says,
Oh, he hung up. He hung up. You there? Hello?
get in there. Yeah, copy.
Can you hear me?
10-4.
All right. What story you got to tell me?
Well, I tell you what. You were right. That picture did not take place.
Yes.
But the size difference is real.
Yeah, it was to show a comparison of what he would look like standing next to Andre the Giant.
And that poor young fella. All right, so let me quiz you because you said, "Oh yeah, I know this guy." All right, so let me ask you first.
I think I saw him in. Remember when they used to have the TV show Guinness World Records?
He was one of the, like the one that, like, wow, what is this? 8'11" tall. All right, so let me ask you this: what country do you think he was from?
Like India or something?
What country do you think he was from? Let the chat answer it too. What chat? And don't Google. You gotta just do it.
I'm already Googling. I said the middle of the Middle East, but I was wrong.
It's interesting, isn't it?
He didn't look Middle Eastern. He looks white.
He's about as white as you get.
Yep.
Yeah.
He looks like he's from St. Louis.
Well, I was going to say what state would have been the next quiz. And he's actually from Alton, Illinois. Alton, Illinois, which is right there at Southern Illinois University. And they have a life-size statue.
Nice.
So at the end of the day, who doesn't want a picture with the life-size? He had a pituitary gland that went wild. The boy weighed 67 pounds at 18 months old. 18 months. 8'11". He didn't quite make it to 9 feet.
Yeah, I got a picture of him up with him laying
you're
in a.
cheating. You're cheating. I had more questions that I was going to mess with you. I mean, he's just a cheater.
I'm putting pictures up for the chat so they could see what we're talking about. He's laying in bed next to his dad, and his dad looks like a little boy.
And show the shoe. Show the shoe. And that's in a museum there in that Alton, Illinois. He's an American person. That blew me away. I was with you. I would have said, like, the Germans were doing something or the Russians were doing something. This kid was from Illinois. All right, so ask the chat, how old do they think that guy lived till?
Chat, how old do you think this guy lived till? I know he died pretty young because it wasn't healthy what he was. Shoe size was 25. There's a picture of his shoe next to $1.
No, it's 37 and a half. 37 and a half. It is confirmed.
Oh, wait.
I checked.
Yeah, so this says 37.
37.5. Yeah, you gotta. Hey, don't get a 11 size shoe if you wear an 11 and a half. Your toes will be cramped. He needed 37 and a half. All right, so check this fun part. So he went off with the circus. He went off with the circus.
Sounds about right.
And he was a household name. He was a household name across the country because he went off with the circus and everybody had to see him. And he didn't like it. He was like, I don't like all these people gawking at me. So he quit it.
Oh, chat was guessing Denmark and Scandinavia. Nope, he's American. He's from
Illinois.
Illinois.
Yeah.
Right outside of St.
And
Louis.
so he went off with the circus and everything, and he was making good money. And then the shoe people, Peter's Shoes, and that's where you came with the St. Louis. Peter's Shoes reached out to him and said, hey, we can make a shoe to fit that foot. And so they turned right around and said, we want you to go sell our shoes all over the country. He said, well, hey, I like that. He said, but the only way I'll do it is if I can wear a suit every day.
So they had to make him a suit too.
Yep.
Yep. I got a picture of the statue here. Oh, it looks like there's there's multiple statues of him.
And he went to 800 towns. He went to 800 towns in a short time frame when he left the circus. And he caught an infection in one of them towns. Lord knows how he caught that infection. Because Frank, Frank the Tank. And Frank the Tank, the first thing he said was 37.5-inch shoe.
Ladies were trying to knock them boots.
22 years old, he caught an infection and died. Oh, where are you going?
So he didn't die as a result of whatever was making him that tall?
Well, that probably is. Because your heart can only do so much. Sheesh.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's a wild thing. And it makes you think about the giants that something snuck through.
Oh, is he a Nephilim? He's a Nephilim baby?
You tell me. They tried to say, oh, he had one of them hyper things in his neck. What do they call that? Thyroid or something? Or they tried to say he had a hyper pancreas or something. He had something hyper going on, and that made him real tall. Oh, okay.
Huh.
So maybe so. And they called him the gentle giant because he didn't like to be gawked at. And then he did the shoe thing. And he was always just very pleasant wherever he went. 22 years old.
Interesting. Yeah, I saw him on the Guinness World Records TV show. They did a little segment about him.
He wanted to be a dentist.
Well, dentists have back problems because they're constantly leaned over.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. Yeah. My mom's a dental hygienist, and she always complains about how she always has to lean over the patient in the chair, and she's always saying her back hurts. This guy would be.
Yeah. That'd be horrible. Scary. Yeah, he wanted to help people, though.
You have to get one of those pump-up chairs that goes up like 5 feet in the air.
You're like, with this. Yeah, thank God for 10-foot ceilings. That's where they came up with the 10-foot ceiling in case that guy. I'm telling you, I think there's a lot more to him. One of the most amazing things I read was he was a household name. Put yourself back in 1930s and something, and you got this guy running around from Illinois that is a household name.
I'm surprised they didn't try to tear a statue down after the George Floyd thing, like white supremacy. He's the tallest white man.
I didn't think about it like that. That is insulting to the black community.
Yeah, we got the tallest guy.
I don't think they're ever going to make the 8'11". Go for it.
Yeah, he should have played basketball. He could have just walked around with the ball, like.
I mean, it makes you want to go rabbit hole it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, here's a picture of him on a basketball court.
Did you see the picture with him cutting up with at the time was the tallest boxer? He was 6'6". I sent that one to you. And he was 12 years old, and he was towering over that guy. That one is real.
I see him.
You know,
is this him and Shaq? Oh no, this is just a picture of Shaq.
Pretty deep story, brother. That's why I went to you with it, because you get into this kind of stuff.
Oh, here's a picture with him and Shaq. I think this is Shaq standing next to a wax statue of him, and Shaq only comes up to his armpit.
Wow. Wow. See, that's what I was talking to the other people earlier, and Frank especially. I was like, I want a picture next to that just to see where you measure up. It'll make you just feel like, oh my God, look at that guy, 8'11". They call it 8'11.1".
Wow. Yep.
That's wild, isn't it?
Yeah, they got wax in wax museums. They got multiple wax statues of him, and then they got that one official statue.
Poor fella, and he didn't like to be gawked at. That's why he quit the circus.
Look how big his hands are. His hands are the size of this girl's freaking back.
Oh my God. The Nephilim, or Nephilim, whatever they call it, the giants.
Yeah.
He slipped through. Something happened.
One of them came up through a tunnel and got with his mama.
He slipped through. Yep. Something happened.
Dang.
Something happened. Where's his parents? Did you see anything on his parents? I know he took a family portrait where he's around his family and they're all like a little bitty. Oh, he had a hyper gland there. That's what it was. It got hyper.
Yeah. Yeah, they all come up to like his belt. His whole family.
What did he eat? Oh, God. He weighed 439 pounds, I think it said.
Dang, that's crazy.
439 pounds, I think is what he weighed.
His walking stick is like 6 feet tall.
And they said in his last days that they created braces to support his knees because he couldn't support his weight in his body.
That's wild.
Isn't that crazy? And then World War II happened. And it just, that guy got lost in history.
Poor tall man, slender man.
Yeah. Good looking kid. Yeah, he was a towhead. He had blonde hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It looks normal when you just zoom in on his face.
It's almost like he escaped from a German lab.
God, his hands are huge.
It's freakish. What were they doing?
He got the perfect job though, working at a circus.
Hold on. Let's put on our tinfoil hat. Do you think he was a government experiment gone wrong?
That's possible too. Could be Nephilim, could be a government thing. They were testing something. I have no idea. Something they were putting in the food in Illinois or the water.
So he died in 1940. He was 22 years old. So he was born in 1918. for some reason they're hiding that. They're hiding his. They're not really coming fully clean on that. So you've got born in 1918, right after World War I, and he ends up a freak show distracting the country, a household name. All right, how are you a household name in 1938?
By being 9 foot tall, I guess.
Everybody had a cell phone and
They said he had hypertrophy, which must be the
TV.
opposite of atrophy. Hypertrophy.
See, they're trying to just
Of
come
his
up with something.
pituitary gland, which results in an
Oh, and
abnormally high level of human growth hormone.
Yeah, and he's the only one that it happened to. Damn. Because last time I checked, there's no 8'4" guy. No, there's no 7'11" guy. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Wikipedia has how he like his ages. So he was normal height and weight at birth. He walked at 11 months, 3 foot. So it's telling like each year. So he's 3.5 foot tall at 1 year old. He was
Yeah,
4
weighed
foot
like 67 pounds.
45. By 18 months old, he was 67 pounds, 4 foot 3 inches.
Imagine breastfeeding that. Poor mama.
He was 5.5 foot tall, 140 pounds at 5 years old.
What happened? They said they built special desks for him at school and everything. Like they were like, wow, look at this guy.
Yeah. So in
They
kindergarten, at 5 years old, he was the height of a 17-year-old boy.
Good God. And we thought Barron Trump was special. Ooh.
He was 8 foot 4 inches when he graduated high school. 391 pounds.
The hell happened?
Oh, he died at
Is he not on
22.
the football or basketball team?
So he was only 22 when he died.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yep.
He caught an infection after going to 800 towns selling shoes. What? He was the first syphilis patient. I mean, I don't know what happened.
Those women had a great story to tell, though.
Shoo.
Well,
I mean, that I do appreciate that because nobody really needs to know that. But I told Frank earlier, I said, well, what if he only had like a 4-inch penis? What would that do? What would that explain? Like, he's a massive giant, but he only had a 4-inch penis.
I don't
What
know.
happened?
I don't know if Wikipedia is going to tell us all that, but
Well, I mean, if you're going to tell us his shoe size, then his hand size, and show all this size, then again, let the whites proclaim ultimate victory in the penis department.
that's true.
With our guy from Illinois.
He brought our average up way up.
Thank you very much. We're back in the game. No, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it?
It's interesting. Yep.
And that's why I came to your show, because I knew you would appreciate some cool crap like that.
Yeah, that's an interesting story.
It's wild and bizarre.
I don't know what that has to do with Henry the Headless Chicken, though. Just a bizarre story.
It was along the same lines. It's a story lost. It's a story lost in the past that it's a shame people don't know that dude was the dude, and everybody knew. You hear about that 8'11" guy from Illinois? You know, I heard something about that in the paper because they didn't have news, they didn't have TV, they didn't have nothing, but yet they knew this dude was out there, and I think that's crazy in our day and time because we can keep up with everything, right?
Yeah. A lot of people know about him because of Guinness World. He still has the Guinness World Record.
But in 1938, how did they know about this guy that, like, oh, he's coming to town? Who's coming to town? That 8'11" guy. What? I mean, everybody's running to the square. They're running. I gotta see this guy. Oh my Jesus! And people were living that in 1938. Josh, there wasn't no cell phone. There wasn't no computer.
Oh, I know.
There wasn't none of that going on. But yet they all knew he was coming to town.
They had newspapers and word of mouth.
He went to 800 towns, and all he wanted from the shoe company was to be fed, taken care of, and give me a suit. And they called him the Giant Gentleman.
Gentle Giant.
No, the Giant Gentleman. He went around and sold shoes for Peter's Shoes.
Same thing. Giant Gentleman, Gentle Giant, same thing.
But what were they really doing?
I don't know. But I got to get on with the show. I got to do all these news stories and talk about Daniel and the Lion's Den.
Yeah, that's cool. I love Daniel and the Lion's Den. That is one of the most amazing stories in the Bible. So, yeah, I'll stay tuned. I'll put that on. Peace.
All right. Talk to you later. See ya. We got to do another Blind Bee again soon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We will.
Should do it on a Saturday.
Absolutely. Saturdays are not good for me usually.
Monday the 16th is my birthday, so not next week, but the following week. So I'm just going to do a real chill show on that day. So if you want to do it then.
That's cool. That's cool. Josh, Cody and I, if Cody's out there, Cody and I are ready for some test runs because we are working on, getting something going.
All right, sounds good.
And it'll be all of our things. Everybody's welcome, all of everything, and it'll be everybody feeding everybody. Copy.
Yep. All right, sounds good.
But yeah, that is a wild story about big old boy, and I hope we didn't disturb his grave because my God, the last thing we need is some 8'11" people running around this world.
I know, a zombie giant. That would be horrible.
If anybody is ready to make a road trip, I suggest going to Southern Illinois University, and they have a life-size, and go get your picture taken with the 8'11" guy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
All right, brother.
All right,
brother. I'm going to listen to. One of my favorite stories in the Bible is Daniel and the Lion's Den. So I will be all ears. Amen.
All
Let's go.
Talk to you later. See you. Peace. All right. Well, that was fun. Good little rapid fire news story. Learning about Robert Wadlow, the 8'11" man. What's up, angry conservative? All right, let's burn through this rapid fire news so we can get into the story of Daniel and the Lion's Den. So first, we got entertainment news. We got some music news in the music business. You ready for some music news? Let's see what we got here. First off, Tupac. A suspect has been arrested in Tupac's murder investigation. In the days since the arrest of Dwayne Davis, aka Keffe D, more details have emerged. According to legal documents obtained by Ambrosia for Heads and other publications, Keefe D has been formally charged murder with the use of a deadly weapon with the intent to promote, further, or assist a criminal gang. Davis is expected to be arraigned October 4th. Davis and his late nephew, Orlando Anderson, have been alleged to be members of the Southside Crip Street organization based in Compton. On Friday, Sheriff Kevin Mack. Is this just a Ponzi for Suge? I ain't never supposed to say anything about Suge because Suge gonna come up and hang me outside of a balcony. But apparently, the sheriff, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department held a press conference. For 27 years, the family of Tupac Shakur has been waiting for justice. It has taken countless hours, really decades of work by the men and women of our homicide section to get to where we are today. While I know that there have been many people who did not believe the murder of Tupac Shakur was important to this police department, I'm here to tell you that was simply not the case. It was not the case back then. It is not the case today. So they got the guy. They got the guy, allegedly, Keefy D, in the Tupac case. Now we got more music news. Music news. Taylor Swift has been in the news a lot. Who cares? I really don't care. We're not going to spend too much time talking about Taylor Swift. But she's been dating a dude from, the Redskins or something. And she's also been talking a lot about Joe Biden and endorsing Joe Biden. And it's all just an op. They put her with dudes to be her boyfriend just to push a political message and to promote her. And like the meme said earlier, she'll write an album about this guy in a couple of months. So that should be fun. I probably won't listen to any of that music. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce maybe possibly dating has been the biggest topic in the NFL this week. Apparently the NFL's making a bunch of money off this. I knew that it would definitely create a stir. I think a lot of us realized the extent of how far and wide this would go. Another thing has been a little surprising is that it really hasn't slowed down. I really don't care about this. This is rapid fire news. But she's dating the dude from Kansas City Chiefs. He is definitely
beta.
He's a beta. He's with Taylor Swift just to boost his popularity, get her back relevant so she can push a bunch of Democratic nonsense on us before an election. Sounds about right. Last in music news, because I really don't care about Taylor Swift at all. It's just in the news, so I'm talking about it. Last in the news, Britney Spears going crazy. Britney Spears' video of her dancing with knives prompts police wellness check. I'll read the article after I play the clip. You guys have to suffer through this clip. I hope you enjoy it. You get to look at old trailer trash Brittney dancing with knives while I run to the bathroom. Watch this.
Britney Spears has once again set the record straight after dancing with knives again. The 41-year-old superstar took to her Instagram on Thursday night to share a video of herself busting a move with what appeared to be a pair of butcher knives. They are not real and that she is just pushing boundaries and taking risks.
No, I'm making you watch it again. No. No, look at her dogs. Look at her animals in the background staring at her like, what is this chick doing? You see when she slapped the knives on her booty? She smacks the knives on the booty. What the? This is back when she was pretty. She's starting to look a little rough these days. A little rough, if I do say so myself. Waiting for Daniel in the Lion story. All right. So, prompts police wellness check. She's 41 years old. She said they were fake knives. Authorities performed a wellness check on Britney Spears after fans expressed concern over a video of her dancing with knives. She is fine, the source said. This is overblown. She was expressing her freedom as she continues to do. The womanizer singer posted the video on Instagram on Monday, writing the caption, "I started playing in the kitchen with knives today." She added that fans shouldn't worry and they weren't real knives. She posted again later saying she was simply copying Shakira, who danced with knives in her MTV Video Music Awards performance earlier this month. Shakira. Ooh, Shakira is fine. I love me some Shakira. But that's it for the entertainment music news. That's all we got there. Enough with crazy Brittney. Hilarious. What's up, Floor? What's up, Robbie? What's up, Cody? Guys, hit the Rumble like button. Hit the follow button. All the good stuff. So, enough with entertainment news. Now we got a RIP. 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 We just killed the club. No, we did not just kill the club. Somebody passed away in government. One of the ancient sarcophagi, one of the ancient walking shells, like McConnell, these ancient people that couldn't even work at Walmart. They couldn't even work at McDonald's, but somehow they're running our government. And again, I don't believe that age is the issue. I don't believe there should be an age cutoff. It's about competency. It's about your health. There are 99-year-olds who are spry and wise. Maybe they have a wheelchair. That's fine, but they're still sharp. They're still on point. Some of these old people are not on point. Mitch McConnell freezing up like a zombie. And then what's his name is working with McConnell. Chuck Schumer is working with McConnell to come up with a funding plan. How you working with a dang zombie? Anyway, Dianne Feinstein is dead at 90 years old. So don't be too sad about it. She's 90. She's old. Excuse me. I need water. I like Knife Brittney. Could we watch that clip again? Go watch it on my YouTube channel. I got a short of it. Harris calls Feinstein one of the greatest public servants that California and our nation has ever known. Of course, Kamala Harris would say that. She broke barriers, inspired generations of women to run for office, and improved the lives of millions of Americans through her vision, courage, and leadership, the statement read. Harris and Feinstein, once two serving senators from California, have shared a somewhat turbulent history. As San Francisco, Feinstein's hometown, Feinstein or Feinstein? Newly elected District Attorney Harris announced she would not seek the death penalty for a 21-year-old gang member who fatally shot a 29-year-old police officer in 2004. Feinstein, then a supporter of the death penalty, publicly rebuked Harris's decision. When Feinstein announced she would retire from the Senate earlier this year, Harris issued a lengthy statement saying, "I had the opportunity to witness her enduring commitment to our constituents and our country. For years, I witnessed Senator Feinstein's leadership when the cameras were on and when they were off. In 2008, I was reelected District Attorney of San Francisco. It was Senator Feinstein who swore me in as a United States Senator. It was my honor to serve the people of California alongside Senator Feinstein." So she did. She did. Meanwhile, Gavin Newsom, the boy Gavin Newsom, faces challenging decision in Feinstein replacement. California Governor Gavin Newsom is faced with a difficult decision. Gavin Newsom, you know that guy.
Beta!
Yep, Gavin Newsom.
I am not gay. I have relationships with women and sex with men.
And I got news for you.
That means you're gay. That's Gavin Newsom for you. Is faced with a difficult decision over who will fill the late Senator Dianne Feinstein's seat after her passing Friday at age 90. The longest serving woman in Senate. She died after 3 decades in the upper chamber. Pressure is now on Newsom to appoint a replacement to temporarily serve as senator for the Golden State until voters elect their next choice in 2024. Newsom has said he will pick a black woman. Of course. Of course. So, has nothing to do with your merit. It has nothing to do with putting in the best person for the job. It has to be a black woman. It has to be a black woman. Wow. I didn't even know that. I'm reading this right now. Same thing they did with the Supreme Court with Ketanji Action Jackson Brown, whatever the heck her name is. The lady who said like 15,000 words, and then the second place speaker who said like 600 words. Pick a black woman. It has to be a black woman. So automatically you just eliminated all the men, all the white women, all the Hispanic women, you just eliminated a huge pool of candidates, regardless of their merit, regardless of whether they were the best person for the job or not, because you're going to pick a black woman. God, this stuff is getting so ridiculous. Though he has signaled he wants to stay above the fray in next year's Senate race, drawing rebukes from Barbara Lee, one of the declared candidates in the process. Yeah, the white ladies, even if they're Democrats, even if I don't like them, they just got cut out because they're not black. He has a political all the men got cut out. He has a big political calculation to make. Strategist came in a huge task at hand in picking a replacement to follow Feinstein's Titan legacy. representing her state. Choosing her replacement is no easy task, and I think generally people understand how challenging this decision is for him, both politically and personally. Feinstein's absence now puts Democrats down one member in the upper chamber they hold by a slim margin, adding urgency for Newsom to quickly select a temporary successor. It also draws attention to an already intense battle for her seat. California Democratic reps Adam Schiff and Katie Porter launched bids for Feinstein's seat. Yeah, but if you're not black and you're not a woman, you're out. Senator announced February she would not seek re-election. Lee announced her run shortly after becoming the third candidate to jump into the competitive race. Newsom has said he won't appoint any of the candidates currently running in the primary, instead appointing someone to serve essentially as a caretaker of the seat until the next election. Meanwhile, more news on Newsom. While he tries to find a replacement, next month, I believe, November 30th, next month, we will stream this. I talked about this during the debates the other night. Gavin Newsom and Ron DeSantis are going to debate on Fox News in November. The ideologically opposed governors will face off in Georgia on November 30th. Fox News' Sean Hannity will host. So this is going to be interesting. The two biggest, baddest, the two greatest, and I don't mean great as in good, so I think Newsom is a mess, but governors, California and Florida, are going to debate. Is this kind of like preparing us for what may be the situation in 2024? Like, don't think just because I love Trump and I'll vote for Trump and all that stuff, don't think that I'm not expecting something crazy to happen to where Trump isn't able to run. The same way that in 2020, I was sure that Trump had it in the bag. But I told people I would not bet money on Trump winning because I don't believe in our system, and I think something crazy is going to happen, and Trump is not going to win. I said that before the election. Sure enough, it happened. So I'm saying again now, I love Trump. That's my guy. That's who I think has it in the bag. But I do not put it past our crooked system to find a way that he cannot be the guy. If he cannot be the guy next year, when we go to vote in November, who's going to be the guy? It's going to be DeSantis, right? That's the number two, right? It's got to be. It's not going to be Vivek. It's not going to be Tim Scott. It's not going to be Pence. Doug Burgum's a boss, but it's not going to be him. It's going to be DeSantis. And then the same way, I don't think they want Joe Biden up there again. He's old, and I know they like having their shells. They like having their puppets that do what they say and just sign papers without being able to read them. But I don't put it past the Democrats to find a way to get Biden out of there before it comes time. I mean, they're doing the impeachment inquiries right now. He's a very logical person, just very odd. Will win on this one. You don't know what you're talking about, Flora. Get out of here. Everybody ignore Flora. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She lives in Guatemala. Nonsense. Are you mean in this debate? In the debate between Newsom and DeSantis, yes, he will win. In a fair election, no, he will not win. He doesn't stand a chance. He's getting blown out of the water by Trump right now. Trump is better than DeSantis in every way possible. And nobody wants DeSantis except for crazy people who used to be liberals 2 years ago. So unless they find some way to oust Trump, what happens? There's a possibility where the Democrats replace Biden. Who did they replace Biden with? Newsom. And the Republicans replace Trump. Who do they replace Trump with? DeSantis. This could be a foreshadowing of events to come. Why are they putting DeSantis and Newsom in a debate against each other leading up to an election? I think this is foretelling something that may happen. If it happens, I said it. If it doesn't happen, forget that I said this. But I don't think it's that crazy. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and California Governor Gavin Newsom will take part in a televised 90-minute debate moderated by Fox News' Sean Hannity on November 30th. We will stream during that. That should be interesting. The debate will air on Hannity's namesake show from Georgia through a specific location in the key battleground state remains to be determined, Fox News said in a news release. I will look forward to the opportunity to debate Gavin Newsom over our very different visions for the future of our country, DeSantis said on X. DeSantis campaign spokesman said, the contrast of California's failures to Florida's success demonstrates that Ron DeSantis is right. The decline is merely a choice. Whether Newsom or Biden is the Democratic nominee in 24, they both offer the same failed and dangerous ideologies for America that helped us get in this mess. We look forward to putting Ron DeSantis' record of success up against it, he continued. I really think this picture right here and the fact that they're doing this debate says a lot. I think these may be the candidates in 2024. Just saying. They don't want Trump and Biden 2.0, which is all what I want. I want the rematch, but they don't want it. So remember I said it. If it happens, I got a few. Speaking of Trump, let's go to a Trump date. Let's go to a Trump update from CNN. Trump says he'll appear at civil fraud trial in New York on Monday. That's today. So this is an article from yesterday. He appeared in court today. I'm going to court tomorrow morning to fight for my name and reputation, he posted on Truth Social Sunday evening. Trump had been expected to attend, and law enforcement and court employees have already begun making security preparations for his potential appearance at the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. And then also we got this New York lady just skipping over all the trials, Letitia James, skipping over all the trials and saying he's guilty of wrongly appraising his apartment. It's not his job to appraise his apartment. He's not an appraiser. Also, he says, according to him, that they are undervaluing his properties. I agree. It's like a baseball card. If you have a baseball card that there's a billion copies of and everybody's got one, it might be worth $1. But if you got a baseball card owned by Donald Trump with his signature on it, that's his, then it's going to sell for a lot more. It's going to sell for a lot more. Appraisal in an auction, you don't know what people are going to be willing to pay for Trump's property. Crazy leftists will pay more just because it has his name on it so they can tear it down. Extreme right-wing people are going to pay more just because it has his name on it so they can say, I got Trump's apartment. Let's freaking go. So maybe their appraisal says the property's worth this amount, but the fact that Trump owns it makes it worth more. Yeah. Collector's value. The guitar from, I did this story more than a year ago. The guy from Nirvana, one of his guitars, it was appraised at like $40,000. It ended up selling at auction for $4 million. It's not Trump's job to appraise his property. That's an appraiser's job. He can overvalue his property if he's doing the appraisal, and I don't think he would be wrong. This is nonsense. It's dumb. A civil fraud case brought on September 2022 by New York Attorney General Letitia James against Trump, his eldest sons, their companies, and several executives will begin at 10 a.m. Monday. Last week, the judge overseeing the case dealt Trump a major blow in ruling that the former president is liable for fraud and that he overvalued his properties on his financial statements for a decade. The ruling came in response to the lawsuit by James, who is seeking $250 million in damages, a ban on the Trumps from serving as officers of a business in New York, and a ban on the company from engaging in business transactions for 5 years. That's crazy. And they passed this before he even went to court. They just said he's guilty. Don't even take it to court. I was playing the video on one of my streams earlier in the week, or last week. Crazy, 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 crazy. Let's see. What do we got? I got some local news from Utah. President Nelson, General Conference was this week for the Mormons. I bet Josh is about to do the Trump voice. Oh, I did the Trump voice. I did it very bigly. The best voice there is. You don't understand the Trump voice. You know when it's coming, and it's coming. Oh, it's coming. Mormon news for Utah, local news for me. They had General Conference this week, which is when all the Mormons go to the big temple in downtown Salt Lake City, and it's packed down there. They do it twice a year, and it's packed all weekend. I talked to the Mormons last week. They came to my house, and I think they're coming tomorrow, too. I like to hang out with them and talk to them, but I've already told them they're not converting me. It's not going to happen. But it is interesting. We've been reading the Book of Mormon when they come over, because I told them the last 3 groups that came by, I already debated with them. I already brought up all of my critiques and my basically arguments against Mormonism to those guys. So I'm not going to do that with you guys. I just want to hear what you have to say. We can read the Book of Mormon. Let's learn about it. So that's what I've been doing with the missionaries. They're cool. Maybe I can convert them. It's like my job. It's like Christmas for Mormons. Yeah. This city is packed, like shoulder to shoulder, people everywhere. Thousands of people come from around the world for General Conference. But President Nelson announced 20 new temple locations at October General Conference. So they're building 20 new temples, which is the biggest announcement of more temples ever, I think. Second highest. The highest was 32 temples announced. So the Mormons have a temple for every certain number of people and every certain distance, because every neighborhood you go to, every little ticky-tack neighborhood, they all have a temple in the middle of them, because there has to be a temple for every certain number of people. So there's temples everywhere. This guy announced he's building 20 new temples. You know, Utah's the closest thing we have to a Christian theocracy in America. So even though I don't agree with the Mormons' doctrine and their theology, they're kind of based. They have a lot of base stuff, some not so base stuff, some debased things, but they're nice people and they're kind of based. Anyway, enough about that. That was just a little local news. We got bed bugs in Paris. From NBC News, bed bugs bite into Paris, stoking fears ahead of the Olympics. Ew! Look at this clip. What the heck? I'm just going to play this clip. I'm going to play this clip while I go grab some water, because we got 2 stories left, and then we're going to get into the story of Daniel. So I'm going to play this clip. Apparently, the Paris Olympics might not happen because Paris got some bad bed bugs. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Bro, the homeless people deal with the bed bugs just fine. You can't have Olympics because of some bed bugs? This might creep you out. If you get creeped out by things like this, you might not want to look. It looks gross. I'll be right back.
Station of bed bugs.
Oui, on a peut-être même une quinzaine, parce qu'il y en a beaucoup des petites, des toutes petites.
Tonight, the city of Paris battling a widespread infestation of bed bugs.
Oui, on a peut-être même une quinzaine, parce qu'il y en a beaucoup des petites, des toutes petites.
Videos going viral on social media in recent weeks uncovering the less glamorous reality in the city of life. Next week, the transport minister plans to meet with public transportation providers to brainstorm a plan of action for infested trains. Because right now, Paris is losing this battle to exterminate and eradicate the unwelcome pests. Raf Sanchez.
Bed bugs. I bet Paris is regretting their immigration policies now. Paris Olympics less than a year away. Fears a blood-sucking insect could take a bite out of those attending the Olympic Games next summer. Demands for action. Footage of the creatures crawling around on high-speed trains in the metro has been published on social media. Many report sightings in seminars. They got bed bugs everywhere. Promising to reassure and protect travelers using public transit systems, Wayne said on X, formerly known as Twitter, that operators would act more to serve customers. The only way you kill bed bugs, here's how you kill bed bugs: with heat. Heat kills them. They get more active in the winter because it gets cooler. In the summer, they die. You can take all your stuff, take all your sheets. You get bed bugs, take all your sheets off your bed, everything, all your clothes, everything. Put it in a dryer, a big dryer that has very high temperatures. Put them on high heat and just dry them for a long time. Or you can put your stuff in trash bags and leave it out in the sun if it's a hot day. It needs to be over like 120 degrees. Bed bugs. Bed bugs are bad. Bed bugs aren't a problem with Agenda 2030. It's just breakfast in bed. Oh, God, no. Don't eat the bugs. Chinese gong. Chinese gong. No bugs. No bed bugs. So Paris has bed bugs. We got one more story. Weird science. We've talked about the James Webb satellite since it was put up. I love the James Webb satellite. It's destroying all of these scientists' ideas on the universe and evolution and things like that. But unfortunately, if Mr. Mad was here, he would love this story. He's going to like this because he's into the string theory and the alternate universes and the parallel universes and all that stuff. I'm not really into that. But we got a story. James Webb Telescope spots thousands of Milky Way lookalikes that shouldn't exist swarming across the early universe. So apparently, way, 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 way out in the universe, billions years old universe, because they say a telescope is looking into the past because of how long it takes the light to get to the telescope, the speed of light. They can't really say that the speed of light is consistent. What is it, like 486,000 miles per second? But they can't actually prove that that's a consistent speed. They don't know that light's not going faster farther away. But with that number, they estimate the age of these universes, and apparently they're in places that the universe shouldn't exist, according to the Big Bang Theory people and the evolution people. This messes up everything they said. So now they're going to just say the universe is older. Same thing they do when they find something they can't explain with Earth. They just say the Earth was older, and everything they just add more years and more years as they keep getting proven wrong, because they can't just believe that a creator did it like that. But anyway, there's a bunch of Milky Way look-alike galaxies out there in the universe. So if you believe in the string theory stuff and that there's infinite universes and there's infinite versions of us in our universe as you go farther and farther, or our galaxy as you go farther and farther into the universe, this might be pointing to that. Maybe these are other slightly alternate Milky Ways with Earths, with other versions of us living in them. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. I think it's a bunch of nonsense, but let's read. Has found more than 1,000 galaxies mysteriously resembling our own Milky Way, hiding out in the early universe. Shaped like warped vinyls and sporting delicate spiral arms, the Milky Way doppelgangers were found by James Webb Space Telescope more than 10 billion years ago into the universe's past, during a period when violent galactic mergers were thought to have made an abundance of such fragile galaxies impossible. So they're proven wrong again. The James Webb has proven all the scientists wrong. Amazing. Yet the disk galaxies are 10 times more common in the early universe than astronomers previously thought. New research reveals. The strange discovery joins others made by the James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, that point to a deepening mystery around how large galaxies, and with them potential for life, first bloomed in our universe. The researchers publishing their findings in the Astrophysical Journal. So if you're into the string theory and multiple universes that are just like ours, and parallel universes and stuff, this, I don't know. Dang, I don't know. But that's the weird science segment. And that's it for the rapid fire news. That's all we got. That's all we got for rapid fire news. All right. Now, before we get into our Bible thumping segment, I'm going to do a little plug for my merch. If y'all are new to the Dreaded Conservative Show, then you don't know that I make hot sauce. Last year, I made 4 flavors. I made a green, mild, garlic and serrano sauce. I made a yellow, hotter, pineapple and jalapeno sauce. I made an orange, pretty hot, habanero and mango sauce. And I made a very hot habanero and ghost pepper sauce. Well, this year, I didn't have as much of an assortment and a variety of peppers, but I had a lot of peppers. So we're only going to have, well, we might still be able to make 4 flavors out of this. But I only have 3 mashes. So today, I made the mash. So this is pepper mash. All this is peppers and salt blended up in a Ninja blender. And all of them this year are going to be hotter. So this is the mild sauce, which is mild by my standards. It's hot by anybody else's standards. This is hot serranos, not green sweet serranos, but red hot serranos and jalapenos, red jalapenos. So this is the mild. We have a whole lot of it. I'll probably use like half of it to make just a mild hot sauce. Mild, it'll be a hot sauce. And then maybe another half I'll mix with some pineapple to make another pineapple sauce. But they're all going to be red this year because all my peppers were red. Then we got the medium, which is actually pretty dang hot. This is habanero. There's a couple green ghosts in here. What's that sticker? There's a couple green ghost peppers in here, but this is almost all habanero, a little bit of red serrano, some chili peppers or some cayennes, and a couple green ghosts. So, but this is very hot. This is going to be the hot, and this I will do with mango, and it's going to be good. It's going to be delicious. Habanero and mango is amazing. And then this, I don't have a whole lot of it, but this here, this is deadly. This is super fire sauce. This is almost all ghost pepper and red habaneros and some cayennes. But it's mostly ghost pepper. And it's very hot. It's very hot. Basically, what I got here is the mash. So this is just pepper with like a tablespoon of salt. The salt causes a chemical reaction to activate. I need to clean up the sides of this or it's going to get mold. But the pepper and the salt chemical reaction happens with a chemical in the peppers. I forget what it's called. And it'll start to ferment. You'll see little bubbles. So I'm going to leave them in these jars. As it ferments, the glove will pump up. And then every couple days, I take the glove off, let it breathe. And I just let it ferment for like a week or two. And then in a week or two, I take the food processor. I take this, which is the base. And then I mix in sugar, honey, apple cider vinegar to make it more liquidy, onions, garlic, cilantro, mango, pineapple, and I make the flavors. And that's when I really customize the hot sauce and get to where I like it, how I want it to be. But we're going to bottle this up and I sell it. What did I do it last year? Was it $20 a bottle, which covers shipping? Shipping is like $6. So that means the bottle of hot sauce, homemade artisan hot sauce, $14 a bottle plus $6 for shipping. So $20. I'll get you a bottle of the hot sauce when it's ready. You just send it to the Cashapp and let me know which flavor you want, but don't do it yet. Wait till I have them all ready. I have bottles. I bottle it up. I don't have labels again this year. One of these years I'll get labels, but and I'll make cool decorative labels with all the ingredients. But I send you the bottle wrapped up in bubble paper, and I'll put the ingredient card in the package so you know what's in it. And yeah, hopefully it'll come out pretty good this year. But they're all going to be red, I think. Last year I had green, yellow, orange, red, which was pretty cool because I have more of a variety of peppers. I have less variety but more volume of peppers this year. But I think they're going to be hotter this year, and everything's going to be red, but I'll still flavor it nicely and it'll taste good. JS hot sauce is the boss. Oh yeah. So that's the little plug on the hot sauce. And that's all the rapid fire news we got. I think afterwards I'll play you a little video. Because I'm making a video out of it too. I also made brisket yesterday. My first time making brisket. And I recorded a ghetto gourmet video. So I'll have a ghetto gourmet video coming soon of my brisket. It was pretty good. It was pretty good if I do say so myself. All right. Let me I'm actually gonna stop the recording now for the YouTube. Thanks for watching the show. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Check me out on Rumble, rumble.com/user/thedreadedconservative for the live shows, Monday 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. YouTube, you're watching this in the future. I hope you liked it. I will have the Bible thumping video on Daniel and the Lion's Den coming soon for you guys. The Rumble people get to see it right now. So I'm going to go. I'll talk to you later. Watch the video. Watch the playlist. Be out. Peace.